One day, I transmigrated, but became a tragic villain in a terrible drama. Other villains are ruthless and evil, but I'm just a hard-working farmer, toiling the land. No bullying or setting vicious dogs on people. I'm directly opposing the heavens as a good citizen, though I'm the villain in the story. The female lead always has a heaven-sent husband to save her whenever she's in trouble. And if one isn't enough, she gets two. Even if I suddenly power up at the end, there's still the white-haired third male lead to instantly kill me. The kind that smashes your head to pieces. The most infuriating part is that I share the same name with that brainless female supporting character. Did I dig up the author's ancestors' graves or something? For such a terrible drama, it's not worth watching. Let's all move on, brothers. However, a flash of inspiration struck, and when I opened my eyes again, it was a completely different scene. This antique dressing table, these expensive interior decorations, and this heavenly, beautiful face. Where on earth have I been taken? No, in this kind of dreamlike situation, physical confirmation is most feared. Just pinching my own soft cheeks would make me cry out in pain. Suddenly, maidservants rushed in from outside upon hearing the noise. But the news that followed shocked me to my core. What? The real daughter who was mistakenly swapped years ago has returned? Small problem, so I've transmigrated. It's just being beaten to death, right? I've seen it all. In this situation, I should just take my leave first. Before the maidservant could finish speaking, a crisp splash echoed throughout the scene. It was the cold lake water that actually calmed my thoughts. In the story, Rong Ningxuan did all sorts of evil deeds and was exposed as a member of the Kuei clan after cultivating poison skills, which is why Bei Shaochen killed her. So now, as long as I hide my identity and run away, I'll be safe and sound, right? Haha, I'm going to ruin NPC Old Master Rong's storyline right now. Old Master Rong, I'm coming for you, he. Maka 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 maka. Old Master Rong spoke gravely about the baby swap incident years ago. This is clearly a life or death question. In the original story, staying in the Rong family as an adopted daughter led to all the troubles. But I know how to answer this question. I put on a grieving face, ready to unleash a series of brilliant moves. Suddenly, the figure behind me almost made me spit out a mouthful of salt water. The newcomer was the female lead from the story, Long Feiyu. To be honest, look at that built-in filter beauty. As someone who appreciates beauty, I really can't resist. No, father, you were just talking about Mingxian. Your birth parents have passed away. From now on, you'll stay here as an adopted daughter. Here it comes. The crucial plot point has arrived. To avoid meeting my doom. Of course, father, you finally reunited. How could I take away your affection? Just let me go back to where I came from. It's all for my birth mother. The female lead beside me, seeing how filial I was moved and begged me to stay and live together. To this, I had tears in my eyes, as expected of the beautiful and kind-hearted little fighter. But my life is more important, dear. Unexpectedly, at this moment, the butler walked in carrying my adorable pet dog. Just watching TV, and I transmigrated into the tragic villain of the drama. If not being beheaded, then it's extreme knife fighting. Even the female lead sister would kill her husband just to forcefully push me down, just as I was preparing to lay low and run away. The blood-spitting butler, by sheer coincidence, brought in my pet dog. Don't sabotage me now, Apple. In the original story, to get revenge on Long Feiyu, the original owner deliberately had someone send a vicious dog to bite her. After that, she went further down the path of self-destruction. It's like old 8, not even going to the toilet to die is this urgent. But at this moment, Feiyu, as if not hearing my warning, walked towards the puppy with an adoring face. Suddenly, the vicious dog's body trembled. Turning into a black shadow, it prepared to pounce on Feiyu. I made a flying tackle, holding Feiyu tightly in my arms. After a few flips, the little cutie also managed to sit up, holding her head. My sweet little baby, are you okay? Accompanied by the screams of the two, I collapsed on the cold floor without regret. Father, listen to me. Just let me leave, I know. We understand. Father will absolutely not let you leave Chihu. Mingxian, you protected me. I want to be your best sister for life, never to be separated. Hearing this, my blood pressure skyrocketed, gushing straight out of my skull. Why don't you just kill me instead? At this time, a white-haired man hiding in the tree branches couldn't help but curve his lips into a smirk. After the dog-blocking incident, I managed to lay low for nearly 10 days. The maidservants outside kept urging me to go harass good family men. What kind of villain does good deeds like this? As a model citizen, I'll reluctantly go out and take a look, but the scene before my eyes almost scared the crap out of me. It turns out the beautiful female lead came to bring me medicine. This is truly a blessing I've prayed for over 8 lifetimes. Then Fei Yu invited me to meet that mysterious senior who helped reunite her with her father. Speaking of which, this is also an unsolved mystery that sparked countless debates in the drama. Now the truth is right before my eyes. I must go and gossip about this. Calm down. Haven't you heard that spoilers kill? What are you afraid of? We'll just look a little. Just a tiny bit. As these thoughts kept bouncing around in my head, the female lead hit me with a sweet triple combo, leaving me completely dumbfounded. Who could refuse an invitation from a beautiful sister? Father. I'm here. Mingxian. What are you wearing? A lucky suit? Don't mind it. Just then, the female lead walked in with a white-haired man. One move, and I've transmigrated into the tragic villain of the drama. Right off the bat, I was cuddled by my adorable pet dog. After barely laying low for 10 days, a huge drama bombshell is dropped. Faced with the dilemma of my dog's life and juicy gossip, I of course choose to lay low and enjoy the gossip. Unexpectedly, the visitor turns out to be the supreme lord of 10,000 realms, Bei Xiaoqun. Seeing this, I immediately went into online panic mode. .jpg. Why? It's that sweet little darling who, in the drama, ripped out the original owner's heart and lungs, and finally smashed her into meat paste with one slap. And where's your black uniform? Wearing an eye patch now. Afraid people won't recognize you? Stay calm. I should still be able to lay low. As long as I quietly, step by step, slowly plop down, giving them a big New Year's greeting, I can successfully draw everyone's attention. With tears of pain in my eyes, I complained about the uselessness of the small blanket. Then I hurriedly adjusted the blanket on my head. Suddenly, Bei Xiaoqun lifted the cover off my head. Seeing this TV drama-like scene, I blushed. My father, seeing this, became a bit panicked and immediately tried to find an excuse for me. Unexpectedly, Bei Xiaoqun, without a word, threw down a piece of emerald ingot and turned to leave. Seeing this, I tremblingly stood up. Miss Rome is quite unique. Next time we meet, you should worry about your head. Hearing this, I instantly turned to stone. What? Next time we meet, he'll take my dog head? Big brother, I'm really kneeling before you. Fei Yu, seeing this, immediately came forward to ask if I was all right. But I was feeling hopeless, contemplating which way of dying would be more peaceful. The little angel beside me also frantically advised me to be kind. After all, when you're unlucky, you can choke even while drinking water. Hearing this, the female lead had a sudden idea. Why not go to Yuanan Temple to pray? They say the gods favor kind people. I directly begged the gods to let me go back. Wi-Fi, air conditioning, soda, aren't they nice? However, reality proves that when you're unlucky, you're really unlucky. The gold chain wearing cousin in front of me was marveling at today's good fortune. Not bad, but I was so angry I could vomit. Are your guards made of paper? How do they fall with just a touch? Hey, in broad daylight, under the bright sun, do you have any respect for the law? Sister, the situation is stronger than people. It's okay if the female lead is a bit cowardly. Wait, female lead. Forget mere robbers. Even if you've dug up Emperor Qin, Shi Huang's tomb. With protagonist buff, shouldn't I take the chance to show off? I'll directly announce my identity. Friendly persuasion to retreat, Miss Rome. Brothers, catch these 2 girls for me. What the hell? Great female lead, please save this child. Just then, a beam of light directly struck back the villains. The newcomer was dressed elegantly, with a handsome face, in broad daylight, daring to break the law in this prince's jurisdiction. You truly have the guts of dog. The man glanced at me, our eyes meeting. I'll be going now. Roadside robbers with ill intentions. A handsome hero descending to save the beauty, but at the sight of a man, she runs away without hesitation. Is this the decline of morality or the distortion of human nature? Who is Chun Yang Hao? He is the domineering Prince Xian of the noble royal family. Not only is he a righteous partner in saving the world, but also the dream lover of 1.9 billion young girls. However, such a man utterly despises me. The original owner was Prince Xian's fiancée, but she caused trouble everywhere out of jealousy. Your Highness, Miss Rome brought people to beat up girls from over a dozen families, just because they glanced at you in the crowd. Your Highness, Miss Rome smashed the restaurant you often visit, reportedly because the aunt downstairs wrote you a love poem. Your Highness, Miss Rome went to the brothel to find you, but stumbled upon Lord Zhao and Madame Lu's affair. Now the two families are fighting at your doorstep. When watching the drama, I thought this supporting character had issues, but now I realize it's about me. The prince immediately saw through the trick and was about to leave after saying some harsh words. Brother, I know once bitten by a snake. You're scared of ropes for 10 years. But please, save this child. As we were about to perform a melodramatic scene of love and hate, the big cousin nearby got upset and ordered his brothers to capture us. In contrast, the prince was still muttering about me. Suddenly, magical power surged, and in no time, he knocked down all those little troublemakers. Not bad acting. You're working hard to get close to me. Hearing this, the cousin was so angry his chain fell off. He took off his clothes and performed a heavenly maiden scattering flowers move. Countless eye-searing fragrances flew directly towards the prince. The prince pursed his lips. Instantly weakened, he fell to his knees. It can't be that you're really that weak. Seeing this situation, I approached with some concern. Unexpectedly, the prince gritted his teeth. With a hint of shyness on his face, tears in his eyes, he moaned defiantly, "Bastard, even if you get my body, you'll never have my heart." And so, we were successfully kidnapped back to the bandits' lair. However, the prince beside me was still muttering about me. In contrast, the female lead seemed wiser. Why don't you even spare other girls? Oh, Miss Rome has been kidnapped by bandits. What bandits? Where are the bandits? Those are the people from just now. The prince paused upon hearing this. What? They were actually bandits? Sexy prince flirts online with vicious bandits, reaps a bountiful harvest. 2 people and a bird all locked up in jail. As they say, life's greatest tragedy is losing freedom. Prince, aren't you a Yuan Xian realm cultivator? Shouldn't this kind of rope be easy for you to deal with? Unexpectedly, the prince seemed somewhat coy as he spoke of his weakness and powerlessness. In contrast, the female lead appeared more clever, suggesting we look for stones to cut the grass ropes. After our thorough search, the prince, living up to expectations, found the key prop. As expected of a man, we asked you to find a stone, not to cheat, hey? I then approached with hopeful eyes, seeking help. Suddenly, a cold glint flashed. The sharp little stone violently pierced through my chest. Absolutely not. Given his level of disgust towards me, it's too dangerous. I immediately brought the female lead sister forward instead. A bit higher up. Okay, is it here? Yes, right there. Use a bit more force. The 2 of them started taking turns rubbing up and down. This kind of pay-per-view scene in TV dramas really gets your blood pumping. I immediately became the director, pointing and gesturing from the side. Suddenly, a cracking sound interrupted their criminal process. Rong Mingxian, aren't you a cultivator too? What were you doing earlier? Did you completely forget about that? After solving the rope problem, the male and female leads also started teaching me how to escape prison step by step. But I don't understand the principles you're talking about at all. Could it be like earlier, using brute force? Are you an idiot? You've attracted everyone's attention. Seeing this, the female lead sister was also a bit helpless, urging us to run quickly. The next moment, 2 figures simultaneously prostrated themselves behind me. I can't go on. I have no strength left. I've twisted my ankle. Don't mind me. Quickly go. Stop using these cliches from over a decade ago. What good could come from abandoning the protagonist and running away? Suddenly, a beam of light shot straight at me. I threw the male and female leads hard towards the distance. When I came to my senses again, the big cousin was already standing in front of me with a mocking expression. What a disobedient young lady. Looks like I need to teach you a lesson. As a flash of red burst forth, blood soaked my cheeks like tears. It's not your turn to run wild in my territory. The 3's escape attempt failed. The prince sacrificed himself to block a giant hammer. My baby is grown up. The male lead's body was suddenly enveloped in light, directly forcing the cousin back several meters. How is this possible? The drug should still be effective for a few more hours. In contrast, the male lead clenched his fists. Countless karmic flames burst from within. I, of a young bloodline, shall incinerate you all. Seeing this, I couldn't help but shed tears of emotion. Baby, he's awakened. Suddenly, a thought flashed through my mind. Sacrificing himself to shield me like this. Could it be? Hey, do you like me? Hearing this, the prince angrily spat out his drink. He turned back, gathering strength to argue. Please clarify your words. If there's any rekindling of old feelings, I could be very dangerous. As these beautiful words passed, the prince pulled up his pants and threw me far away. Clearly, the female lead's baby is more considerate. As the minions gathered, the big cousin also began to spout threats eloquently. This action just happened to run into the prince's line of fire. Endless rage surged around him. It's all because of you that I was tied up like a meatball, and a woman touched me in strange places. You'll all pay for this. In an instant, a tremendous aura began to gather. As his hand fell, it unleashed endless brilliance. Such special effects, truly 3D Max. The scene was absolutely explosive. Yeah, the effect was indeed explosive. Looking towards the direction where the female lead had gone, a crack twice my size appeared before my eyes. Help! After a moment of darkness, in a haze, I seemed to hear someone calling my name, but it felt so soft and tender. Coming to my senses, I saw the female lead, slightly out of breath, shyly calling out to me, softly. I am so sorry, I didn't mean to. She said that, but with such a realistic sensation, who wouldn't savor it carefully? It was as if that softness was still in my hand. Rong Mingxian, how long are you going to keep touching? What the hell? The prince, having come to his senses, suddenly began listing my crimes. Oh my, I never thought this was a blessed golden right hand. But having gained an advantage, I still had to play it cool. I could only helplessly try to soothe their emotions. Due to the explosive scene, we fell from 10,000 meters in the sky into the ground. As for why we haven't died from a fall, it's because Newton doesn't govern here. Hearing this, the prince began to shyly defend his actions again. All right, why don't you go up then? Weren't you quite fierce earlier? That's because I used a secret technique. I'll be a bit weak afterwards. I could only sigh helplessly at this. It's truly like trying to nail jelly to a wall. If I forcibly carried them both up, I'm afraid the bandits would take advantage of the situation. Looking at it this way, we can only find another way out. Having said that, I embraced the delicate female lead. Hey, do you want me to help you walk? Suddenly, a sigh returned the cave to silence. Looking in the direction Feiyu pointed out, countless dark red eyes were already stirring in the corners. The protagonist team accidentally fell off a cliff. The golden right hand bravely seized the spring light. One might ask, who is the prince? Every day, he rises from his 60-meter golden silk down bed. Maids on both sides respectfully greet him. All meals are carefully prepared. Even fish bones are removed by specialists. Such an environment has cultivated Prince Xian's cleanliness obsession, and the thing he fears most is none other than the little bugs next to Rong Mingxian. Don't rush. Didn't the superior say to never give in even if it means death? Seeing that we were about to be devoured by insects, the prince directly took out a grenade and chose to self-destruct. It's truly ridiculous to have a grenade, but not use it to blast me. With the prince's heroic sacrifice, we successfully escaped from the pursuit of the bone-eating ants. Having survived the explosion, I asked about the current situation, panting. The prince looked as if he had eaten something strange. Clearly, the problem wasn't solved yet. In contrast, the female lead explained shakily that it was a goo, which had lived underground for years and feared light and fire. Seeing that the prince wanted to say more, our gazes had already locked onto him. Prince, you're wearing so much. Burning one piece shouldn't be a problem, right? Are you joking? Don't tell me the prince wants to burn a lady's clothes. Aren't you afraid the brothers watching the screen will take liberties with you? Unexpectedly, the prince argued eloquently. All of this prince's robes are of the highest quality, resistant to both water and fire. Is that so? Then take off your pants. After a moment of shy resistance, the light of righteousness once again shone upon the earth. Looking at the familiar scene before me, I couldn't help but be lost in thought. Wait, wasn't this scene supposed to happen a month later? At that time, Feiyu, feeling humiliated, went out to clear her mind and accidentally met Prince Xian. The two of them fell underground during a fight with fugitives. Then it was the injured prince and the weaker Feiyu, supporting each other, creating that sweet romance in the underground crisis. I never thought it would turn into burning underwear now. Little tough guy, Mom is sorry. It's all because of this damn hole. Why did it appear so early? I wasn't prepared at all. Suddenly, countless ants rushed out. I immediately raised the torch and waved it wildly. In contrast, the ants trembled and slowly retreated. Then little tough guy urged me to run quickly. After all, the prince's thing wouldn't burn for long. On the way, I couldn't help but worry about Fei Yu's ankle. Compared to that, there seems to be a bigger crisis over there. I said, Your Highness, do you need to be so elegant while escaping? Shut up. If you're so capable, try running with a stick between your legs. After a period of running, the cave entrance gradually brightened. What came into view was a silver white paper cup sprinkled with shining starlight. At this moment, the female lead was somewhat moved. Suddenly, a cold wind blew. Prince, do you have any more underwear? You started this fire. You deal with it. Just as we were arguing, the swarming ants once again drove us into a desperate situation. Burning underwear lights the way ahead. The shy prince waddles along. Unfortunately, the heavens weren't on our side. They're coming. Prince, hurry up and take it off. At this moment, the little cutie stopped my rough behavior. A sly look covered the swarm of ants. It seems they fear the moonlight at the cave entrance. Seeing this, I was greatly relieved. After all, the prince's underwear was saved. However, if nothing unexpected happens, the unexpected happened. The hunting moment awakened. I jumped out again. The ants in front retreated once more. After all, with the protagonist present, heaven still had to show some face. Going back again. After several ups and downs, we were too exhausted to stand up straight. This won't do. We need to find a way to blast open the cave entrance. Seeing this situation, the delicate prince generously offered his long-treasured self-detonating grenade. In contrast, the female lead was deep in thought, pondering whether the Lingji above might be poisonous. I was a bit surprised by this. According to the plot, Fei Yu should have known about it. Unexpectedly, Fei Yu's face darkened slightly. She then explained somewhat helplessly, I've only recently returned to the Rong family. I've never seen such a spirit plant before. Come to think of it, the female lead in this timeline hasn't learned anything yet. Then, I confidently introduced the unique effects of the moon shadow grass. After all, this is a key prop in the later stages of the plot. Now that everything is ready, the task of climbing naturally falls to the slowest person in the group. Wait, I don't even have underwear now. If I go up like this, won't this woman see everything? Then, the prince entrusted this important task to me. But isn't this your plot? After a bit of arguing, I finally bore this weight that I shouldn't have had to bear. Suddenly, the moonlight dimmed again. Countless ants came straight at us. The prince hurriedly raised his hand to defend. After a moment of tongue clicking, he then urged me to speed up my work. All right, I'm about to get it. With the grasp of the undying in my hand, the rock under my feet also helpfully slid away. How could I not know such a cliché plot? I directly did a monkey climb to secure my position. Well then, it's your turn now. Go explosive flame bomb. Accompanied by a gesture, I threw it out. The bomb flew towards the cave entrance at a reasonable angle, in a minus 5.32 wind direction. Helpfully blew me right out. This isn't how it's supposed to go. Just then, a silver-white spiritual power safely sent me to the ground. The sweet darling, seeing this, immediately came to check on my safety. But why? The herbs in my hand seemed to be a bit less. At this moment, a silver-white figure was hiding behind a huge rock. Although there was no major harm, the cave entrance was still intact. However, what was unexpected was that our prince had woken up again, accompanied by a burst of sparks and lightning. The gorgeous special effects surprised everyone into applauding, truly worthy of being the great prince. One move, and I've transmigrated into the tragic villain of the drama. First, there is the heroic giant sculpture blocking the dog. Now, there's the prince kowtowing online. Such a bloody lesson tells me to absolutely stay away from the male and female leads, especially that Bei Shaochen who smashed my head. But if I directly distance myself from the female lead, I'm afraid I'll be mistaken for teaching evil. Since I can't escape, I'll just let her be immersed in studying. I remember in the drama, the female lead loved reading, and there was also her birth mother's cheat-like big sister character. As long as I let her get this item and completely indulge with my rich lady status, I can directly live without worries. Said and done. Father, I'm coming. However, the scene before my eyes made me shudder. No, it must be an illusion. How could I see the Grim Reaper? Before I could play dumb, Bike Xiaochen directly bakten. Sir, entering a lady's chamber seems improper, doesn't it? Seeing this, the big shot thought for a moment, then hooked his finger and pulled me out of the room. You didn't let him in, but you didn't say I had to come out, hey? Seeing no chance to escape, I could only humbly grip my fingers and respectfully greet him. In contrast, the big shot's face remained calm. Do you know who Gan Huayin is? I know. Rong Feiyu's birth mother, your senior apprentice sister, the famous alchemist and spirit plant master, right? Before I could finish speaking, a chop to the head turned me into jam. Absolutely not. This is a deadly question right off the bat. I directly laughed it off and evaded. Then how did you know about the moonflower grass? It took senior apprentice sister Gon years of research to develop it. What the hell? Does the author plant traps too? I saw it in an ancient text. Suddenly, a ticking sound rang out sharply. Damn, you're using a lie detector that only works once a month on me. Seeing this situation, the big shot became more aggressive, while I was already too scared to make sound. Looks like you even know about the heart-questioning realm. No, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to die. Suddenly, the big shot's expression darkened. What? Are you saying I'm trying to kill you? Help! In the panic, I accidentally knocked off the big shot's eye patch. When I opened my eyes again, a face of otherworldly beauty was right in front of me. This scene was just witnessed by Fei Yu, who had come to visit. Such a wonderful scene makes it hard not to let one's imagination run wild. So you and senior apprentice Sister Gon's flesh and blood exchanging identities. Could it really be a coincidence? I don't know. They didn't show that on TV. Seeing me deny it outright. The mirror in his hand tactfully glowed green. Then one last question. What do you want to use the Jade Book for? Answer in 3 seconds, or I'll kill you. I want Feiyu to get the Jade Book, to ignore the outside world and focus on studying the sage's teachings. Seeing the mirror glow green, Bei Xiaochun clicked his tongue somewhat disdainfully. He's disappointed he didn't kill me. After saying this, the big shot turned around. If there's been any offense, just endure it all. Watching Bei Xiaochun leave, my legs instantly went weak and I collapsed on the ground. Mom, I survived. Then I started celebrating the beauty of life. All right, Bei still has some questions. I'll come visit Miss Rome again next time. Why don't you just delete me instead? At this moment, a strange restlessness welled up in Fei Yu's heart. Sexy wolf dog online training. Shy supporting female character in Big Brother. Please spare this child. In the darkness, gentle voices kept calling my name. I looked towards the source of the voices. I saw the white-haired big shot smile seductively, offering me the freshest handmade Mingxian sauce with a Yander expression. No, mom, im skarat. Coming back to my senses, I wiped the sweat from my forehead. Miss, the guest has come to see you again. Hearing this, I realized it wasn't Bei Xiaochun. I shed tears of emotion. But why would the prince come to see me? Could there be more plot developments later? Listening to the maid's flattery, I couldn't help but recall my various past encounters with the prince. I just made him squat in jail, got hit with a big hammer, touched his butt, and then burned his underwear, that's all. Small issues. He's probably here to silence me. How could that be? The prince is betrothed to you. It's only natural for him to care about you. Oh right, this is where the room for maneuvering comes in. In the story, Rongfu owed the old prince a favor, so they arranged their children's marriage. But that ended up making me an obstacle in their sweet romance. Now I can use the prince's aversion to get myself out of this toxic circle. That's right, my baby has come to break off the engagement. Moments later, the sound of 2 people arguing could be heard from inside the room. What? Could it be that the NPC father doesn't agree to break off the engagement? Seeing this, I directly pounced on my old father with a bear hug. My dear daddy, let's just settle it like this. The prince beside me also chimed in mockingly. Unexpectedly, this troublemaker kid is actually supporting mom for once. Love you. Suddenly, an 82 centimeters large pot lid was placed directly on top of my head. In contrast, the prince looked quite satisfied. Look at your fiancé giving you this pot lid. Is he here to fight? Hearing this, the prince spoke with some disdain. You're that eager to marry me? I want you to cancel the engagement, you rascal. I haven't lived enough yet. Roning Xuan, you dare to reject me? How to break off the engagement? Don't tell me you want to marry me instead. Even if I die outside or jump from here, I won't marry you. Not marrying you means breaking off the engagement. Seeing the situation becoming tense, the prince directly brought up the parents' orders excuse. Didn't you say you wouldn't marry? Hesitating like this, are you even a man? Shut up. This marriage, I won't cancel it. Before I could struggle, the prince directly turned and left. On the other side, a group of maids were discussing Feiyu's tragic background. At this moment, that vicious dog of an attendant was outwardly complying but inwardly opposing, stirring up trouble between Feiyu and me. In contrast, Feiyu's face darkened. He stood up and shouted sternly, "Someone come and beat this person out with sticks." He was originally from a wealthy family, but due to a setback, he ended up on the streets. Not only did he become a servant, he even fell off a cliff and nearly died. Now that he's back in the Rome family, he's vowed to drive out all those who bullied me. Suddenly, an exploration ball appeared. Bro, this doesn't fit your character's setting as a caring little treasure, does it? It doesn't matter. No one has ever cared about me anyway. In contrast, the exploration ball smiled mischievously. No way, no way. It couldn't be for that Rong Mingxian, could it? Seeing this, Feiyu couldn't help but retort. At least he didn't make me fall like you did. Rumor has it that this person is mindlessly vicious. He must be trying to take advantage of you. Wen Yin Feiyu was even more delighted. This action made the carbon ball somewhat angry. A child like you who grew up in a garbage dump actually believes others' nonsense. You don't really think there's someone in this world who truly cares about you, do you? Before the words could finish, a hand suddenly gripped it tightly. As energy surged through the hand, the carbon ball instantly turned to dust. It's not your place to manage my affairs. Then how about we make a bet? As for withstanding it, on the other side, I was leisurely enjoying my afternoon spa treatment. What is called leisure? What is called willpower? This is how time travel should be. Indeed, as long as I stay away from the plot characters, I can still live a good life. Just as I was about to settle into my twilight years, a shout suddenly woke me up. Rong Feiyu, this is not a place you should come to. I peeked out in the direction of the voice. I saw a purple-haired woman scolding loudly, while Feiyu beside her was already crying uncontrollably. Looking closely, isn't this person the original owner's former lackey? Unexpectedly, without a leader, she's still trying to climb up on her own. Seeing this, I couldn't help but pray for her, hoping she's still alive. Suddenly, my figure shuddered violently. A large melon from the window directly slammed onto the purple-haired head. Feiyu, seeing this, immediately broke character. The purple-haired woman beside was so angry she was grinding her teeth. What the hell? I really didn't mean to do that. Forget it. I'll admit it and deal with it later. And this situation, coincidentally or not, resolved the crisis for Feiyu. Looking at the pavilion behind, Feiyu couldn't help but be lost in thought. My Mingxian, you're really amazing. A moment later, Feiyu returned to the room, happily making a victory declaration. It's all fake. He clearly just accidentally knocked it off. In contrast, Feiyu was completely composed. If you're not convinced, our bet is still in effect. This made the explorer pause for a moment. If it's fake, let him deceive me for a lifetime. But if it's sincere, I'm willing to be with him for all lifetimes. Suddenly transmigrating to become the ill-fated villain in the story. I was supposed to lead the humiliation of the female lead. Now, because of slamming the former lackey, I'm supposed to dual cultivate with the female lead. What's going on? At this moment, I was listening to my old father talk about Feiyu's request. Absolutely not. Competing for resources with the protagonist? Isn't that asking for death? Unexpectedly, Feiyu grabbed my hand and said, "You deceive me, I deceive you. I must share all beautiful things with you." At this, I blushed, truly worthy of being mom's darling child. At this moment, the butler burst in. "Master, the second master has come to settle accounts with the young miss." Hearing this, everyone was suddenly startled. Outside the door, a group of big men were standing on both sides. The newcomer was seen to be aggressive, determined to demand an explanation. My father, who slowly approached, also had a battle with the second master. I really feel sorry for my child. They were clearly the ones bullying first, but now they're twisting the facts. Should I step up and clarify for him? Rong Mingxian, don't think I don't know it was you. What the hell? Why are you looking for me? Dare you deny hitting me with a melon this morning? Oh, so it really was my fault. Hearing this, the second master wanted me to kneel and apologize. This action displeased my overprotective father. A beautiful greeting was directly thrown at the second master's face. Seeing no result from the argument, both men's spiritual energy suddenly burst forth. Such simple folk customs are comparable to the golden age of music. With the collision of spiritual energy, both were pushed back several meters. Seeing this, Feiyu intended to go up and argue. I randomly raised my hand to stop her. Since this matter started because of me, let me resolve it. Logically, I hit you with a melon, so now if I let you hit me back, wouldn't that settle it? Hearing this, the villain women looked at each other speechlessly. Then, with a smirk at the corner of their mouths, bring this young lady a melon. Seeing Feiyu looking a bit worried, I could only start to comfort her softly. It's just a small melon. Damn, did they really think it was a greenhouse melon? Before I could react, the king of melons came whistling towards me. Oh crap, brother Huachong. Help, damn it, I can only do this. Accompanied by a burst of explosion, I emerged unscathed from the melon. Suddenly, a comment caught everyone's attention. I looked in the direction of the voice. I saw a white-haired, frivolous-lipped person sitting in midair. This melon is really sweet. First, transmigrating to become the ill-fated villain in the story. Then hitting people with melons. Now attracting a big shot to watch the show online. May I ask for your name, visitor? Just an ordinary spectator, that's all. Seeing this person standing firmly in midair, my sycophant father immediately backed down. This is a wrong family matter. I hope you won't interfere, sir. Hearing this, the big shot smirked. Landing on the ground, he prepared to start. In contrast, my father seemed somewhat resistant, quickly stopping the big shot's show-off behavior. This action angered the big shot. A scene suddenly flashed in my mind. This is between us two. Don't interfere. Why are you so stubborn? One after another, all so annoying. Then his expression grew increasingly gloomy. With a jolt, he moved closer to me, his adopted daughter. Come on, officer. I didn't do anything wrong. The big shot was seen pointing somewhat evilly at the villain women behind him. Don't you want me to do something? Just stay far away, that's all. Hearing this, the big shot obediently patted his hands. Then he unleashed a powerful and sharp force. It turned into a flash of lightning, directly attacking the villains. How's that? Far enough, right? I told you to stay away, not to send people flying randomly. Oh, you meant for me to stay away? Absolutely not. You're my benefactor, dear. If that's the case, help me with a small favor. Ah, yes. You say it. Bei Xiaoqing was seen slowly approaching. Suddenly, a soft voice whispered in my ear, I only want you. The scene changed. The black probe was cursing loudly. You almost exposed our identity for a woman. Are you afraid Bei Xiaoqing can't kill us? In contrast, Feiyu remained silent. Seeing this, the probe became even angrier. Enough, give me that thing. Hearing this, the probe seemed a bit stunned. I'm going to attend the conference. Then I'll get that thing to help you restore your power. Those annoying trash, how dare they lay hands on my Mingxian? They must be cleaned up. On the other side, the lackey Mao was crying about his father's tragic experience. Sister, don't worry. After the Dan conference, I'll make that Rong Ningxuan your slave. He was originally the top power in the story, but he followed the Rong family due to old feelings. Now he sent the villains flying, but I have to take the blame. At this moment, Bei Xiaoxin was whispering, asking me to use moon shadow grass to refine the Shuyu Dan for detoxification. I remember before I transmigrated, fans were discussing old Bei's downfall. Not yet ill. Can't be cured. No hope. Just wash him away. Hearing this, the big shot was stunned, then burst into laughter. You know quite a lot, don't you? What the hell? I blurted it out in the heat of the moment. It's not like that. Let me explain. Unexpectedly, Bei Xiaoxin didn't mind at all. Don't worry. After all, I still need your help now, right? Seeing the situation turning unfavorable, Feiyu quickly grabbed my hand and stepped forward. You have your own matters to attend to. I'm here, so there's no need to trouble the senior. This move made the big shot pause. All right, if I find out you're wasting Dry Sister's efforts. He then snorted coldly and stepped into the void, leaving. Mingxian, since the senior requested, let's start our dual cultivation. Hearing this, I was overjoyed. The final exam is coming. A moment later, Feiyu was diligently writing about the effects of herbs. I asked cautiously, what's the difference between Ma Dongmei, Du Dongmei, and Piao Dongmei? The difference is blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. It sounds like ABA, ABA, ABA. The next day, using the excuse of spying on the enemy, I escaped Feiyu's pursuit. Unexpectedly, the mystical alchemy was even more terrifying than math and science. But compared to this purple-haired brother, Rong Kuenchang was the biggest problem. In the drama, although the original character was the family head, the eldest daughter was a bored little nobody. Therefore, the highly talented Rong Kuenchang became the family's hope. Suddenly, a teasing voice from behind made me freeze. Seeing who it was made me turn to stone instantly. Rong Mingxian, how dare you send someone to kill my father? Help! The next moment, purple hair suddenly appeared in front of me. Help! Someone's trying to harm an innocent girl. Even if you scream your throat out, you're still bold. Scoundrel, don't be reckless. Why does the scene look so familiar? Prince Xian was seen turning back coolly. Then he gazed at me affectionately. How old are you? He was originally the domineering Prince Xian of the noble royal family. But because he refused to break off the engagement and leave the Rong family, he was upset and once drowned his sorrows in alcohol. Now he's so angry. Why did he have to be so stubborn back then? Seeing this situation, the prince, unable to vent, planned to start with his jurisdiction, who knew his daily management was so effective that not even a small incident occurred. Suddenly, a delicate voice came from afar. Looking closely, why is it always you? Then he turned to check on the victim's condition. Purple hair was seen tremblingly raising half of his swollen face. What? You're Rong Kuenchang, Rong Ningxuan's cousin? Could it be? Suddenly, endless fear gathered. Cut! Stop! It's you again. Group fraud is punishable by jail time. Saying this, he turned and fled into the distance. No, Xian, let me explain. Suddenly, a low groan came from behind. Rong Mingxian, you actually let Prince Xian hit me. I'm going to tell the clan elders. What the hell? Don't push all the blame on me. A moment later, I informed Fei Yu of this information. What? You say the clan elders have already been won over? I'm sorry, I offended Rong Kuenchang today. He'll probably take it out on you and father. Unexpectedly, Fei Yu was positive and optimistic, encouraging me to face difficulties together bravely. Don't worry, I'll completely solve those problems for you. Seeing this, my eyes were full of tears. What an innocent and kind little angel. Baby, don't be afraid. Mom will definitely protect you. Although that incident hasn't happened yet. But as a transmigrator, I know very well. At this moment, in Prince Xian's palace, even if I die outside, I absolutely won't see that woman. But Miss Rong said, give her the time of one incense stick, and she won't bother you for a month. Hearing this, the prince pondered briefly. After a struggle, it smells good. A moment later, the hesitant prince urged me to hurry up and finish. First of all, we have a very bad relationship with Rong Kuenchang's family. I absolutely didn't lie to you this morning. For this kind of thing, you shouldn't waste time. So, the crimes of Rong Kuenchang's family have nothing to do with our family. Hearing this, the prince paused. His expression changed as my words fell. The prince's face looked increasingly displeased. After a series of explanations, the atmosphere became extremely cold. If you talk nonsense again, this can't be pardoned as a mere joke. Whether it's true or not, Your Highness can investigate for yourself. So your visit today was for this matter? Of course not. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. After saying this, I called for my child from home. Fei Yu will definitely defeat Rong Kuenchang and become the top of the Yin Conference. Therefore, I hope your Highness can support him to become the next head of the Rong family. The former princess kicks Zhao Qianqian. Kuenqian gets angry and returns home. At this moment, in the council hall, Kuenqian was crying with a sour face, reporting my heroic deeds to the elders, without waiting for the Grand Elder to inquire. The second elder immediately started scolding me, determined to make me pay the price. In contrast, the third elder was more rational, suggesting to clarify the reasons before punishment. After a bout of argument, the Grand Elder suddenly stopped the two. The Han family head has arrived with 2 daughters. Seeing the plan succeed, Kuenqian happily started making his own calculations. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration struck. I made a grand entrance with my child. The injuries of Rong Ningxian and Kuenqian father and son were caused by you. Hearing this, I pondered briefly. That's right, it was me. No way, bro. I had already prepared false testimony. You should struggle a bit. Seeing this situation, the second elder became more aggressive, immediately wanting to punish me for harming fellow clan members. Yes. So, the incident a few days ago, when Kuenqian's father led people to injure my father, I hope the elders will deal with that as well. The second elder is so impartial and just, surely you won't abuse your power, right? Seeing the situation at a stalemate, the Grand Elder could only order punishment for both parties. Then he turned a cold gaze to question me. Our Roan family is a family of alchemists, yet you know nothing about alchemy. You've completely disgraced your father. Oh, I'm not his biological child. Isn't this normal? This move directly stunned everyone present. Even the disciples below started discussing my ultimate magnanimity. But as expected, only my own child cared about me. Respected elders, I understand clearly. To compete for the position of family head, one must achieve results in the pill testing conference. As I'm not of Rome family blood, I naturally shouldn't be involved in this matter. Hearing this, the second elder gave an appreciative look. Then the candidate for this generation is... That's right, it's my Feiyu. Hearing this, everyone once again cast doubtful glances, while Kuan-Xian on the side snickered. This country bumpkin dares to join in? Let me tell you, only the most talented alchemist can become the family head. Ah, yes. So we just need to prove that Feiyu's talent far surpasses yours, right? How to prove it? Wait for him to study for decades. At this, I frowned. In the pill testing conference 5 months later, he will definitely be the top scorer. Hearing this, Kuan-Xian wanted to say more trash talk. I directly gave him a beautiful slap on the face. Were you betting with me? If you win, the position of family head is yours. It's not impossible. How can the position of family head be treated as a joke? Third elder, don't rush. It's just the youngsters' small quarrel. Just as the two were arguing, a handsome young man slowly walked over. Such an interesting bet. Let this prince be a witness. Suddenly transmigrating to become the ill-fated villain in the story. Now I've even got a slacker father. In the story, although Long Han is the female lead's biological father with a strong background, he's a real slacker who wins by lying down. But today, he was arranged clearly by the sensible me. Due to helping Feiyu compete for the family head position, I bet away my father's inheritance rights. I thought I would receive a scolding. Who knew? Father put on an attitude of do whatever you want. With such indulgent behavior, are you afraid I won't become arrogant and domineering? As he spoke, Father even prepared cozy little cotton-padded jackets for us. Seeing this, I hurriedly stopped him, indicating we needed some guidance that would help with the competition. Hearing this, Father also agreed 100%. However, the facts proved, darling, are you hungry? Have some food. Darling, are you thirsty? Drink some soup. It helps with studying. Darling, you've been studying for 5 minutes. I'll have the maid give you a massage to relax. After a series of operations, we successfully drove Father out of the room. In contrast, Father sighed helplessly. Then he said somewhat contentedly, "Hi-Ying, our daughter is exactly like you." But before I could finish speaking, a figure suddenly appeared behind him. Bei Xiaochan coldly said, "Do you think that as long as she's mediocre and incompetent, she can live an ordinary life?" Seeing this, Father refused to back down. Only mediocre people won't be targeted. Only ordinary people can live peacefully. What's wrong with being incompetent? As long as she can be happy and carefree, it's fine. Incompetent people won't be noticed, but they also won't be respected. If someone attacks her again, how will she fight back? The weak cannot protect themselves. Now that he wants to become stronger, I'll help him. And you don't have the ability to stop me. After saying this, Bei Xiaochan stepped into the void and left. Watching the big shot's departing figure, Dad secretly made up his mind. The next day, Dad excitedly brought us help. At this, we couldn't help but cast doubtful glances. Instead, Dad gave a mischievous smile. Then he revealed his treasure, hidden for 800 years, 3 years to make a 5-year pill. At this sight, I directly suffocated on the spot. In contrast, Feiyu's eyes lit up. Just like that, we happily drowned in the ocean of knowledge. A few days later, after learning the basics, we entered the practical stage, so-called pill refining. The most important thing is the control of elemental power. As he spoke, Dad injected the blazing green fire in his hand into the furnace. Looking at the dazzling scene before me, I increasingly marveled that this was indeed a fantasy world. And at this moment, Dad, as if noticing my interest, coaxed and tricked me into stepping forward to try. Seeing this, I could only reluctantly step forward. I haven't even practiced releasing elemental power. Should be fine, right? Following Dad's guidance, I successfully injected the flames into it. Yes, slowly, gently, accompanied by a violent sound. The pill refining room that had accompanied Lord Long for over a decade finally exploded, suddenly transmigrating to become the ill-fated villain in the story. If not being intimately cuddled by vicious dogs, then being violently head-butted by huge rocks. Now I've even been half paralyzed by a pill furnace explosion. I'm really done with this lousy situation. Due to my proper operation, Dad's pill refining room was successfully razed to the ground by me. Even Dad was bettered and due to mental trauma. In contrast, Bei Xiaochen on the side was laughing heartily with his 8-pack abs. I've never seen anything so funny in my life. Seeing this, Feiyu had a smile on her face but was cursing inside, urging the big shot to quickly come and help. In the end, the big shot could only tearfully step forward. Then a stream of spiritual power spread from his hand. Suddenly, a sense of unease welled up in my heart. This action scared Feiyu badly. She hurriedly asked about my specific condition. I can't take it anymore. Ha. I can't hold it back at all. Ha. After a series of manipulations, I finally recovered to a state where I could get out of bed. Seeing that I was out of danger, Bei Xiaochen also planned to leave. I'll go find you a sturdier pill furnace. To avoid another ha. After sending off a certain someone, the room regained its rare comfort. Feiyu beside me was still occasionally concerned about my physical condition, but I expressed deep apologies. I'm sorry I messed up again. If the destruction of the medicine leads to you not being able to perform well at the conference, then I really... Feiyu's lips curled. Why does Ningxuan think I can achieve good results at the conference? I was born in the countryside with limited knowledge. How can I compare with the geniuses from the city? To this, I was somewhat speechless. I couldn't just say it was written in the script, right? Then I softly said to Feiyu, just think of it as me having a prophetic dream. I predict that your future will be full of brilliant glory. These words made Feiyu's face turn red with embarrassment. She quickly turned and rushed to the study. I need to review 20 more. A moment later, I lay back on the sickbed, lost in thought. Although Feiyu didn't mind, I still felt very guilty. There should be a limit to how bad one's talent can be. I'm really fed up with the old six who transmigrated me here. No, I need to make good use of my script advantage. I remember in the story, Kuan caused a lot of trouble for Feiyu. Besides some small tricks, the most important thing was in refining the purity of medicinal power. This technique can only be gradually accumulated through countless practices. And Feiyu, who just learned pill refining, was obviously at a disadvantage. But how can I help her? Suddenly, a bold idea popped into my mind. Since I'm free anyway, why not give it a try? A few days later, Feiyu, who was focused on cultivation, greatly increased her strength. With a burst of spiritual power inside her body, Feiyu also successfully cultivated to the Yuandan realm. Seeing this, my father happily came forward to praise her. Even the big shot who suddenly appeared couldn't help but compliment. Well practiced. This pill furnace is your reward. Then he grinned and said he wanted to see my crime scene. Led by my father, the two came to this luxurious, open-air villa. Unexpectedly, the big shot's expression turned serious. He walked straight into the room. Then his face darkened. I found some interesting things. Meanwhile, unaware of the crisis, I was happily walking on the road, hugging my newly acquired treasure. Learn math, physics, and chemistry well, and you won't fear transmigrating to ancient times. Diligent cultivation, reaching the peak. I'll slap you with a set of advanced mathematics right in the face. At this moment, everyone was on high alert. And the reason for all this was because I was physically refining pills in the kitchen. Thinking back, before transmigrating, I was also a diligent student. Then, according to my memories, I started to direct. After a series of intense operations, the violent noise attracted Feiyu's attention. Mingxian, are you making something delicious? Seeing someone coming, I was overjoyed. I quickly pulled Feiyu to refine pills. In contrast, Feiyu's face was gloomy, wearing a resigned expression. I said, is it really necessary? A moment later, Feiyu and I came to the room to refine pills. As the materials in Feiyu's hands poured in, pills were constantly forming in her hands. As expected of the female lead, the author is really amazing. But Feiyu was slightly worried, troubled by the extraction of medicinal power. It's okay, dear. Let me show you something great. After a session of cloud and rain, a batch of more refined pills appear before our eyes. Seeing this, Feiyu was very surprised. Mingxian, what was that liquid just now? The purity of the pills has increased so much. Hearing this, I gave a sly smile. This is the power of science. Usually, alchemists would choose potent essence for pill refining, but the distillation method can extract as much medicinal power as possible from the raw materials. Thinking it could help you, I just tried a little. Mingxian, Do you know what you've done? This could change the future of alchemists. If this gets out, you'll be in extreme danger. I don't care about that at all. Don't worry. It's because it's you that I'm holding nothing back. These words struck Fei Yu's heart like a sharp sword. She then grimly gripped the probe beside her. Don't worry. I won't let anyone leak this. A moment later, Fei Yu and I discussed the equipment issue. If only we had a tool person who could make precision instruments and wasn't afraid of power. Suddenly, the image of a handsome figure flashed through our minds. Who else but King Xian? Not only is he a righteous companion who helps those in need, but also a skilled craftsman in jade carving. You say that woman is here again? That bitch promised not to bother me for a month. A moment later, I arrived at King Xian's palace as wished. Your Highness, this is a great invention that will revolutionize alchemy. It will definitely lead the trend. Oh ho, if it's a technique for exploding pills, forget it. After my explanation, the king also understood the great effects of this technology. If there are enough samples, I could believe what you say. That's exactly why. As I spoke, I unveiled the cloth in my hand. I hope your highness can carve precise instruments according to these blueprints. You mean you want me to make tools for you? Is that so? After a moment of silence, countless wonderful words poured from the king's mouth. No, it's precisely because of your noble status that you're qualified to make these precious instruments. To this, the king had nothing to say. So, are you going to do it or not? Having fooled the tool person, I happily walked on my way home. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared. Miss Rome, Bay has been waiting for you. Faced with a transmigrated villain waiting to die and a white-haired handsome guy's enthusiastic approach, should I choose to die on the spot or turn around and leave? No rush. I should first figure out the situation. I squeezed out a smile worse than crying and asked the big shot about the reason. No big deal. I just came to see if I should finish you off. What are you thinking? Don't be so quick to kill people. As he spoke, the big shot took out a pill furnace fragment and slowly said, on this fragment, there are traces of some violent power that even I haven't seen before, along with everything I knew before. Miss Rome, the surprises about you are getting more and more numerous. Just as I was about to run away, a strange spiritual power lifted me into the air. With the continuous condensation of blue chains, I was pulled to a strange place in a flash. Miss Rome, don't panic. Let me examine you thoroughly. Absolutely not. That kind of thing in private is one thing, let alone something that involves digging into my heart and lungs. As he spoke, Bei Xiaocheng reached out his sinful hands towards me. Mom, I was wrong. I shouldn't have watched dramas before finishing my homework. However, the scene you expected didn't happen. I said, bro, are you doing a prenatal checkup? Suddenly, Bei Xiaocheng seemed to discover something and turned pale with shock. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Seeing this sight, I felt a bit panicked. No one, such trash talent, not even as good as a one-scene extra. But there is indeed a very strange power inside you. And you know everything from before. I hope Miss Rome can enlighten me. Well, actually I have an innate talent. I can foresee the future. Really? I don't believe it. At this, my eyes were full of tears. I couldn't just say I saw it on TV, right? Thinking back to the drama. After Bei Xiaocheng took Fei Yu as his disciple, he reserved all his tenderness for Fei Yu alone, until he discovered King Xian's feelings for Fei Yu. This old guy turned into a troublemaker for King Xian, contributing a lot of comedic moments. Looking at it this way, King Xian is a good entry point. Better you than me. I'm sorry. Then, with a crying face, I said coquettishly, Senior, I also have some unspeakable difficulties, but I absolutely won't do anything harmful to Fei Yu. And Father also told me to find a man who cherishes her, to let her enjoy the rest of her life. Hearing this, the big shot's face darkened. What? Which presumptuous bastard? In contrast, I was overjoyed. He's getting anxious. He's anxious. Yes. I know Fei Yu is very important to you. Arranged marriages are not good. After saying this, the big shot snorted coldly. You're smart. After all, Fei Yu, she's my most important niece. Suddenly, an awkward atmosphere swept over the scene. Transmigrated and easily manipulated by the big shot. Now I've discovered a huge plot twist from the drama. After Bei Xiaocheng's manipulation, I finally understood his relationship with Fei Yu. I've been shipping this couple for half my life, and you're telling me she's your niece? Oh, the irony. At this, the big shot was very confused about why I looked so disappointed. You're great. You're noble. It's my evil that tainted your purity. In contrast, the big shot seemed somewhat relieved, considering Rohan and Fei Yu's feelings for you. I'll let you off this time. But if Miss Rong does something she shouldn't, then he. I understand. From now on, Feiyu is my heart, my lungs, my darling baby. However, Bei Xiaocheng directly took out a suspicious pill to force me to comply. What's that medicine? Of course it's poison. No yoke. Before I could finish speaking, the big shot flicked the small ball into my mouth. I was 100% unwilling. Help! Someone save this child. In contrast, the big shot smiled evilly and said, "Don't worry, you won't die right away. It all depends on Miss Rong's words and actions." After saying this, he turned and left, leaving me alone in confusion. I stood up trembling, feeling a sudden weakness surge through my body. What the hell? Don't think I don't know that was just a candy. Old lady's acting skills are top-notch. From what I can see, Bei Xiaoqing probably didn't discover anything, which means as long as I don't make a move on Feiyu, I don't have to worry about becoming a handwritten Ning Xian. Yay! The next day, Feiyu and I were doing our usual daily routine. Ning Xian, have you heard? Last night, King Xian's roof was blown up, and they didn't even catch the thief. Hearing this, I spat out a mouthful of rainbow. Such a prank must have been done by Bei Xiaoqing, but we definitely can't say that. And at this moment, King Xian was expressing his fragrance in the palace. The person who committed the crime yesterday must be an expert. Even I couldn't detect his energy fluctuations. Seeing no results, he turned to ask his subordinate about that day's events. Your Highness, it seems the second elder of the Rong family received some mysterious funds and bought a large quantity of herbs. Hearing this, the prince couldn't help but ponder. Could everything Ning Xian said be true? Even if we collect evidence now, it might be too late. Also, is that technology that will change the future of alchemists real? Suddenly, a flash of inspiration struck. Zhao Shan, take a few men to wait at the Rong family elder's residence. We might have some findings in a few days. Others say I'm useless. Even the big shot said I'm less than a maid, just a piece of trash. But even so, I have a fiancé who refuses to break off our engagement no matter what. He not only helps me when I'm in trouble, but also agrees to any of my requests. Looking at everything before me, I was overjoyed. I didn't expect my baby to be so capable. Mommy loves you. In contrast, the prince slowly approached my back and whispered, Baby, help your husband solve this. What the hell? You want me to plant a bug in the second elder's room? That's right. Have you forgotten what you told me the other day? Thinking back to a few days ago, I had spoiled the plot to the prince to help Feiyu compete for the family head position. The story develops that the second elder of the Rong family pretends to curry favor with the crown prince, but secretly supports the fourth prince, planning to tamper with the pills given to the crown prince, intending to rebel. And after investigation, King Xian also learned that this was true. So he planned to use me and the family's vast intelligence network to secretly take action. However, I was panicking. How do I reasonably tell him I have the script? This matter is urgent. Please help. It's quite urgent, don't you think? Please help solve this riddle. Because Rong's father is close to King Xian's father, and King Xian's mother is good friends with the crown prince's mother. In other words, we're forced to side with the crown prince and can't back out. After a round of negotiations, I could only reluctantly accept this unreasonable request. By the way, the listening devices in this fantasy world are really special. They're so soft and comfortable to squeeze. But now the most important thing is to find the second elder's residence first. Suddenly, a noise startled me, making me clench up. Ning Xian, why are you here? Did your father send you to find me? At this, I let out a sigh of relief. No, I'm just wandering around. Well, I have some things to give to your father. Can you help me deliver them? I agreed immediately. However, the next moment I couldn't smile anymore. I saw the third elder slowly take out a thick stack of practice materials and ask me to pass them to Feiyu. Little tough one, your studies are heavy. You must hang in there. After a brief instruction, the third elder left the study with his keys, saying I could freely wander in the backyard. I must say the third elder is really honest. Since I'm here, I might as well have a good look around. A moment later, I came to the backyard to admire the potted plants. My eyes intentionally or unintentionally drifted to the distance. Those flowers over there are beautiful. Are they the third elder's? Oh, that's the second elder's yard. Now you're talking, I casually remarked, then ran towards the distance, leaving the attendant behind. Although I found the place, there were guards at the door. In this case, I had to use modern, sophisticated methods. First, find a relatively low wall with a window, then remove the window. Now I could just squeeze right in. This is what you call perfect execution. I am truly amazing. Moreover, even the window of victory opened up to me knowingly. I directly slapped my little hands and stuck the transformer to the wall. Job done. This is what you call a top-tier secret agent. Just then, the second elder came to the door, following the sound. Mingxian, why are you here? I was originally the world's top secret agent, but due to failing my first mission, I fell into a family crisis. Now I'm sweating profusely, just short of an innocent girl battling 18 tough guys in an AVR. At this moment, the third elder rushed over upon hearing the commotion. Second elder, making such a fuss to trouble a junior, it seems inappropriate. He then helped me up, softly inquiring about what happened. In contrast, I was a bit at a loss. I couldn't just say I came to eavesdrop, could I? Just as I was about to make something up, a handsome guy in green jumped out. The newcomer was the second elder's #1 lackey, Green Hair Bro. I already know why Miss Rong snuck into the second elder's residence. These words startled me for a moment. Could there be a mole in King Xian's mansion? That's right. You came to steal the second elder's alchemy manual. Get lost. Who would steal homework? I didn't expect that to help Miss Fei Yu win against young Master Koan Xian, such despicable methods would be used. I was greatly shocked by this. What nonsense is this person saying? Why drag Fei Yu into this? As he spoke, the second elder was about to pin the blame on Fei Yu. I couldn't stand for this. I immediately started clapping back. Isn't the second elder going too far? Believing slander and forcibly convicting someone. How can such arbitrary decisions convince anyone? If you're innocent, why didn't you use the main entrance instead of sneaking in over the wall? Well, you see, I just happened to be passing by. I just happened to see clothes blown away in the courtyard, so I just happened to come in and put them back. What the hell? Only a dog would believe such a stupid excuse. Mingxian, you're such a good child, returning lost items. However, such a poor excuse obviously couldn't escape Green Hair Bro's scrutiny. He immediately ordered people to search. It's over. There's no hope left. Reporting, sir, we found a red belly band on the ground. This directly stunned everyone present. Oh, why? Why does the second elder have such a thing in his courtyard? Never mind. I can only push through with this. I pinched my thigh hard. Tears silently rolled down from the corner of my eye at a 45-degree angle. This junior only wanted to protect the second elder's reputation, but was instead slandered by others. Who could have imagined that the usually upright second elder is secretly a pervert who likes to wear women's red belly bands? Hearing this, the second elder became furious and wanted to punish me according to family law. Second elder, please calm down. Although your preferences are unique, Ningxuan didn't mean to reveal them. In contrast, the second elder's face was already full of denial as he sputtered curses. Seeing the situation at a stalemate, Green Hair Bro directly picked up the belly band to examine it closely, trying to find clues. This was truly an unexpected discovery. Damn, isn't this my wife's belly band? Hearing this, the second elder was so scared he almost soiled himself. He frantically tried to explain himself. A trace of sorrow slid from the corner of Green Hair Bro's eye. We've known each other for years. You actually... I'm not. I didn't. Listen to my explanation. I won't listen. I won't listen. What did you do to my Mimi? Watching the love and hatred drama unfolding before us, we gradually gave up trying to understand. Just like that, I left them with an indelible shadow. While from the outside, it looked like Lord Een, second elder Rong, and his subordinate were fighting over a belly band. At such a young age, I managed to tear the enemy apart with just a red belly band. Can you imagine that? At this moment, the third prince was in his room, berating his subordinate's incompetence. How could the spy they just planned to be driven out so quickly? The subordinate, on the other hand, had a puzzled expression. I don't know. Originally, the spy had hidden the intelligence in the belly band, but yesterday it was found by the guards during a search. We are a professional team. There must be some foul play involved. Hearing this, the third prince also pondered. It's not impossible. Go investigate this thoroughly. If anyone dares to interfere, chop them up. Meanwhile, Fei Yu was trying out the advanced equipment I got from King Xian. As spiritual power condensed, a pill of excellent quality appeared before our eyes. Seeing this, we all beamed with joy. By the way, Ningxuan, did something happen at the Elder Council yesterday? Hearing this, I didn't dare to express myself. After all, it was just some pranks. You know, making someone wear a green hat and such. Then I turned to Fei Yu, saying earnestly, some things are better left unknown for children. Seeing this, the kid was understanding enough not to ask further, and then invited me to go to the herbal medicine market together. Just as I was about to respond, the plot suddenly flashed in my mind. Isn't this the new version where the Crown Prince makes his appearance in the story? He's the super nice guy who's way better than Bei Shaochen. I also remember in the story, the The crown prince was framed by a scammer while touring the neighborhood, and then Fei Yu helped him out of righteousness. From then on, the crown prince was impressed by Fei Yu's noble character. Although I really want to get close to the crown prince, the original owner already knew him. Going out like this might mess up the plot, so it seems I can only politely decline the kid's invitation. Hearing this, the kid looked disappointed with teary eyes. This scared me into quickly comforting him. Next time for sure. Then it's a promise. At the herbal medicine market, Fei Yu was examining various herbs. Then she said to the explorer beside her, "When that person comes, remember to tell me." Hearing this, the explorer responded impatiently. Suddenly, a figure caught the explorer's attention. That rich young master carried a lot of spiritual energy and had hidden guards around him. Could he be a royal noble? At this moment, the crown prince was examining products in the hands of a merchant below. The color of this looks quite good. As he spoke, he reached out to touch it. In contrast, the dishonest merchant grinned. The tortoise shell in his hand suddenly shattered into countless pieces. "Hey, you broke my 100-year-old shield tortoise shell. You have to pay for it. It's worth 10 gold coins." Just then, a voice called out from this direction. "Mere trinkets are not worth picking up gold for." The cunning and obsessive rogue, Fei Yu, truly fell in love this time. Even if she accidentally fell to the bottom of the lake, there would be a white moonlight to illuminate her. At this moment, the dishonest merchant was slandering the crown prince, who was pretending to be a rich young master. By the looks of it, it would take at least 1 million or so to settle this. Fei Yu, who couldn't stand injustice, remained calm. She eloquently explained the origin of the counterfeit item in her hand. The merchant, whose lie was exposed, still wanted to deny it. Unexpectedly, Fei Yu directly requested to use white vinegar to test if the tortoise shell would discolor. If it didn't, she would compensate double the amount. Seeing the situation turn unfavorable, the dishonest merchant could only flee the scene trembling. Witnessing this, the crown prince enthusiastically approached to chat, indicating he wanted to visit to express his gratitude. In contrast, Fei Yu flatly refused. After all, our little angel does good deeds without leaving her name. After exchanging a few pleasantries, she turned and left. Observing Fei Yu's attire, the crown prince roughly guessed her identity. She must be the daughter of Rong Han, who recently returned. With excellent character and vast knowledge, how could she be the country bumpkin others described? Having said that, he ordered his people to investigate the recent fraud incident. On the other side, the explorer was teasing Fei Yu about her habit of doing good deeds anonymously. Fei Yu, in turn, mocked the explorer's ignorance. That person's crown was inlaid with soul-summoning jade, which only royalty could use. Royal households usually treasured it, let alone bringing it out for a stroll. Moreover, his gentle nature suggests he must be crowned Prince Chang Yangwenji of the Shanghong dynasty. Just as the explorer was about to tease again, a familiar aura caught his attention. "Hey kid, that old geezer you told me to watch out for is here." Following his gaze, the newcomer was none other than the second elder of the Rong family. Seeing this, Fei Yu was overjoyed. An exciting show was about to unfold. Fei Yu stepped forward to block the second elder's path. She stood in front of the second elder, respectfully saying, "Young one, Fei Yu is here on behalf of my father to pay respects to you." The second elder couldn't help but click his tongue in annoyance. After throwing out a few insults, he quickly walked towards the market. In contrast, Fei Yu gave a mischievous smile. Then, a purple smoke directly entered the second elder's nostrils. After a moment of silence, the second elder suddenly questioned, "Are you mocking me?" To this, Fei Yu expressed her confusion with an innocent face. However, what entered the second elder's eyes was a scene of mockery. "You brat, just because you're the family head's daughter, you disrespect your elders like this. Take her back. Family punishment awaits." Hearing this, Fei Yu tremblingly took a step to the bridge's edge. The second elder's actions were clearly bullying the weak. However, in her heart, she kept thinking about the explorer's progress in burning the wooden stake. With the second elder's order, the guards beside him suddenly rushed forward. Seeing this, Fei Yu stumbled backward, and the wooden stake behind her obligingly broke. As planned, this situation successfully caught everyone's attention. Fei Yu, who fell into the water, felt somewhat emotional. The dose wasn't much, yet the reaction was so strong. He's truly arrogant and reckless. With this, Your carefully cultivated image of a politician in front of the crown prince is now gone. I originally wanted to gather evidence to present to His Highness, but what could be more real than witnessing it firsthand? Saying this, she allowed her body to slowly sink to the bottom of the lake. Just then, a familiar figure swam urgently towards her. Why is it you who came? Ning Xian was originally from a wealthy family, but due to a mix-up, ended up on the streets. Not only did he become a servant, but he also fell off a cliff and nearly died. Yet, this person had a humble dream. That is, he hoped to have a relative who truly cared for him. However, reality was cruel. Fei Yu, who had become a slave, could only complete the trafficker's business requirements every day. Those who couldn't steal the specified amount would be deprived of food and beaten. Such situations were commonplace in the downtrodden garbage heap. However, this didn't erode the girl's kindness. In a blink, she handed the stolen bun to a pitiful boy collapsed on the ground, despite her own hunger. Without thinking, the boy snatched the bun and started devouring it. However, the loud noise attracted the trafficker's attention. It was his stolen food. It has nothing to do with me. Such simple words shattered the girl's naive kindness. After a moment of silence, Fei Yu seized the opportunity to escape through the window. As if blessed by heaven, the pouring rain at that moment perfectly concealed Fei Yu's whereabouts. All that remained was the helpless figure of the girl. The next morning's sunlight fell on the dilapidated stable. An old woman coming to inspect happened to find Fei Yu sleeping inside. Looking at the food offered by the old woman, the starving Fei Yu gratefully accepted the bun. You're so young to be out here. Your parents must be worried. Fei Yu looked somewhat dejected. She calmly replied, I don't have parents. I've never seen them. Realizing she had said something wrong, the old woman quickly apologized and then inquired about Fei Yu's health. Though we don't have much money, if you don't mind, you can stay here to recover. These words were like a glimmer of starlight in the darkness, illuminating the girl's world. Thank you, thank you. Late at night, Fei Yu nestled in this rare home. Suddenly, a black hand silently approached. It then pulled open the straw mat, ready to start something. However, the scene before him left the man dumbfounded. Where is she? You dare trick me? By this time, Fei Yu had already staggered out the window. With footsteps constantly approaching from behind, Fei Yu fled into the forest without hesitation. However, fate wasn't on her side this time. A thick branch mercilessly tripped her. Her fragile form, like a broken puppet, fell straight towards the bottom of the valley. In an instant, countless bloodstains reddened the young girl's tender face. Am I going to die? Dying on a rainy day, I hate most. If I die, I probably won't suffer anymore, right? However, as if arranged by fate, the seeping blood happened to touch a strange circular disc. As ominous smoke slowly rose, an evil black shadow suddenly appeared. Hey kid, do you want to live? Delayed justice is cheaper than grass. This girl who had been abused for over a decade was suddenly told she was a wealthy young lady who had been lost among commoners. Anyone would throw a fit in this situation. Inside the dilapidated house, a mother and daughter were surrounded by traffickers. The old woman had originally planned to sell Fei Yu, whom she had picked up, to pay off the ransom. Now that they couldn't catch her, the traffickers could only take out their anger on the mother and daughter. They were about to step forward and grab them. The next moment, the ghostly black shadow laughed coldly. A violent explosion scattered from the crowd. However, the person who appeared left the old woman dumbfounded. Fei Yu was seen staring blankly at this woman who had betrayed her. In the rich woman's terrified gaze, Fei Yu couldn't help but vent the grievances in her heart. Why did such brief words torment the rich woman's heart like a sharp blade? I'm sorry. My husband ran away after gambling debts. They wanted to take my daughter. I had no choice. I'm sorry, but can you hurt other people's children for the sake of your own? As she spoke, Fei Yu's expression grew increasingly cold. Seeing this, the old woman stood in front of her daughter, begging Fei Yu, as long as you don't hurt my daughter, you can do anything to me. Such a situation only made people more angry. The rage in her heart had nowhere to vent. It then turned into purple flames that exploded inside the house. Looking at the scene before her, the madam was stunned. You gave me a meal once, so I'll spare you this time. If we meet again, I won't show mercy. Then Fei Yu, like a balloon that had released all its anger, walked powerlessly on the rain-soaked road, recalling that humble wish from childhood. If only someone could give me a bit of warmth in the cold. If only someone could always hold my hand in the wind. Even if it was such a vile and selfish protection, I still hoped someone would be willing to protect me. But it was all just a fantasy, until he appeared. Delayed justice is cheaper than grass. Yet you were so bright, constantly illuminating my life. The pouring rain mixed with the shadows, endless fury. You disobedient thing. You actually let my sacrifice escape. Then I'll use your blood as a substitute. In contrast, Feiyu joked, then didn't you save me for nothing? At this, the shadow could only angrily click its tongue. Then it slammed Feiyu heavily to the ground. If there's a next time, I'll make you wish you were dead. After saying this, it left behind a probe named Purple Demon and disappeared. Although the probe's attack power wasn't strong, it could sense and influence others' emotions. In the years that followed, Feiyu became like a tool for the shadow, completing its assigned tasks one after another. Until one day, a man named Bei Xiaoqing appeared. The probe was very afraid of him. What surprised the girl even more was she was actually a young lady from a wealthy family and was about to return to her birth parents. Recalling her childhood life of hunger and inadequate clothing, endless anger filled the girl once again. However, the girl silently accepted all this because she had no reason or ability to refuse. Feiyu, with her appearance tidied up, sat dejectedly in the carriage. Her hands still tightly gripped the constantly teasing probe. Compared to her lowly self, the kind-looking woman before her now seemed so piercing. And this vicious dog they sent, is it a show of authority from the young lady? Fine. Let me see which side father will take when I clash with that young lady. However, the next moment, a figure tightly embraced the girl. The girl's heart was so moved at this moment. Why? Is it because father is nearby that you're doing this? It was the same during the bandit incident too. Even when I fell to the ground, he still protected me without hesitation. No matter when, he would always stand by my side. Even at this very moment, he remains faithful to me. I thought it was an unattainable small wish, but now he's right in front of me. This time I absolutely won't let go. He's been cuckolded, really cuckolded. Even his brothers are shipping it hard. Why is the wind so noisy today, one might ask? It's the wailing of a woman crying on a luxury car. Just a few minutes ago, I was still a carefree little fatty, but curiosity killed the cat. The commotion behind me caught my attention. I looked in the direction people were discussing. There, a strikingly handsome guy appeared. Such a fresh and unconventional disguise scared the meatball right out of my mouth. I said, "Your Highness, what are you doing?" The prince, whose identity was exposed, couldn't help but tighten up. "What? You saw through such a perfect disguise." I was speechless at this. I randomly pointed at the horse's rear, saying, "Anyone with eyes can see your palace's unique, artistic horse." In contrast, the prince angrily took off his headscarf. As they say, even the wisest can make a mistake. Since that's the case, we can only act quickly. Before I could savor the moment, the prince's merciless iron hand suddenly pulled the innocent girl into his arms. Like the free wind, you chase in front, I fly behind. The prince's expression was solemn as he spoke about the second elder of the Rong family going out, pretending to accidentally meet the crown prince. Hearing this, my expression changed to 3 parts fear and 7 parts panic, worrying about the current situation. However, knowing the plot, I was fearless. What bad intentions could the second elder have? He's just trying to curry favor with the crown prince. Obviously, this kind of thing absolutely cannot be told to this smart aleck in front of me. After a journey through the bustling world, we successfully arrived at the herbal medicine street. The clever prince still hadn't given up his perfect disguise, continuing to swagger and hide in the passing streets. Suddenly, the second elder's figure caught the little fool's attention. The second elder was seen being aggressive, trying to grope the girl in front of him. "Don't just stand there, you fool. Your wife is being bullied." Hearing this, the prince was confused. "You mean Miss Feiyu who was with you last time? I'm not close to her." These words directly shocked me. Is this even human talk? That's your wife. You're telling me you're not close? Weren't you two before? Just as I was about to speak, images flashed through my mind. Wait, holy crap. He's been cuckolded. The prince's fiancée ran away with his sister-in-law. It's the kind that even the future emperor would ship hard. Who is the prince, you ask? He's supposed to be the male lead, Feiyu's little heater in the story. However, this originally sweet and romantic love story was abruptly cut off by me. All those moments alone together, lovey-dovey scenes, facing darkness, fighting Kunshin. How did all of these end up happening with me instead? Little tough guy, mom is sorry. Just as I was lamenting, a splash caught everyone's attention. I went over with a concerned posture, asking about what happened. What, Feiyu fell into the water? But the male lead is right here. Should I go down or not? Suddenly, the railing broke unexpectedly. Then, with a standard 45-degree angle, I did a triple and a half turn in the air and was thrown into the water. Look, some unlucky fool fell in. As they say, since I'm already here, might as well save the person. After a series of flailing, I successfully emerged from the water with Feiyu in my arms. I even thoughtfully used brain waves to decompress Feiyu. However, Feiyu, who wanted to cuddle, was still unconscious, not responding to other shouts at all. Even after reaching the shore, Feiyu, who I wanted to examine, remained unconscious. Seeing the situation getting more serious, my mind was filled with thoughts. There's no choice. I'll have to use artificial respiration to save her. Just as we were 0.01 millimeters away from touching lips, Feiyu chickened out. A shout directly stopped this damned sinful act. You really don't seize the opportunity when given, do you? Seeing Feiyu regain consciousness, I was overjoyed. However, the two people beside me were blushing and dumbfounded. If I say I was saving your future wife, would you believe me? Seeing the atmosphere becoming tense, I hurriedly and nervously explained the purpose of artificial respiration. Seeing this situation, the crown prince tactfully stepped forward to smooth things over. Xian, since you're close with Ronghan, why don't you escort them back to their residence? Seeing Prince Xian still worried, the crown prince gave him a knowing look. After some polite exchanges, we bid farewell and left under Prince Xian's escort. The second elder behind us was about to come forward to explain something. The crown prince, who had witnessed everything, directly gave him a warning look. At this, the second elder could only grit his teeth and leave. As he left, he didn't forget to spew some trash talk about Rongfu's family. Seeing no one around, the crown prince's face immediately darkened. The Yuri flower in his heart instantly bloomed. Girls being close is truly wonderful. This is what you call a master. As long as I'm on the negative first floor, you'll never be able to outmaneuver me. After the belly band incident, the third prince finally uncovered the truth. That's right, it was that Rong Mingxuan. This woman has a marriage contract with Prince Xian. Perhaps Prince Xian discovered something. Otherwise, how could he so coincidentally infiltrate the second elder's villa? And so coincidentally discover the intelligence belly band? And so coincidentally pin the blame on the undercover agent? Explaining it so logically, the porcelain third prince almost bit his teeth to pieces. Rongming Xian, just you wait. You won't survive this pill testing competition either. On the other side, after rescuing Feiyu, I fell in a deep thought. Don't you think Feiyu is acting strange? First, he brings daily handmade snacks. Then, top-quality beauty pills that can preserve youth in the future. Even the clothes his father gave him are altered to fit my size. And now he's even calling me Ma Dongmei. I immediately sat down with a thud. And all of this is because of that iron-headed fool who doesn't want a wife. I'm really so angry. It's all because of me that Feiyu's pure and beautiful first love was hindered. I say, Feiyu, what do you think of Prince Xian? Hearing this, Feiyu politely praised Prince Xian's character with some reluctance. Then, slightly shyly, he covered his little face full of murderous intent. Indeed, Feiyu is being shy. Seeing this, I directly comforted him, expressing my intention to break off the engagement with Prince Xian. Hearing this, Feiyu was overjoyed. A girl in love, confirmed. Said and done. I directly arranged for Feiyu to meet on the street where Prince Xian often appears, trying to secretly cultivate their emotional path. However, things didn't go as planned. Two reckless little hooligans set their eyes on the kid's beauty. Then they chased each other into that suggestive side alley. Damn it, you can't go there. However, the scene before me made me shudder. This isn't right. Feiyu, who had knocked down 3 people, coldly glanced from the corner of his eye. Recognizing who had arrived, he immediately let out a whimper and fell in my arms, not forgetting to describe his helplessness. After multiple comparative experiments, Feiyu only politely greeted Prince Xian. However, such strange outings naturally caught the little cutie's attention. Just as I was about to take the kid out again to cultivate feelings with Prince Xian, Feiyu directly interrupted my mid-game output with a set of moves. Then with a merciless iron hand, he pulled me into that endless abyss. And so, we happily sailed in the ocean of knowledge. Time flew, and the much-anticipated pill testing competition finally arrived. As if arranged by fate, Feiyu and I were assigned to different examination rooms. Seeing this, Feiyu couldn't help but worry about my situation. But such simple nonlinear differential equations, Lin Xian will definitely have no problem. Saying this, he began to write furiously. However, if nothing unexpected happens, what unexpected thing happened? Failed again. What are you assassins even good for? Seeing this, the servant was also panicking. I don't know. We had all our manpower arranged for the nurses, but we didn't expect that Roan Lin Xian would be so incompetent that he couldn't even cause an incident. Bei Xiaochen never dreamed that he, who had been wise all his life, would become a lovable little Shota. And it was his niece who personally made it happen. Just now, the Crown Prince, along with the fourth prince, were handling the matter of the pill testing competition's second round. But Bei Xiaochun, as the Supreme Lord of 10,000 Realms, had cut everyone off. And he cut them off for 2 whole hours. Because of this, everyone was discussing. They thought that such a great figure must be busy with official duties, which is why he couldn't arrive on time. However, in reality, the big shot was already at the competition venue. It wasn't that he couldn't come, but that he really couldn't manage it anymore. A few days ago, I, who had successfully failed to qualify for the competition, heard the comfort of this academic woman. Things like, the questions were too difficult, try harder next time, grades aren't good, top of the class. To this, I tearfully pinned my hopes on my child. After all, he is the female lead in the drama, the hope of the entire village. As for why Fei Yu is blushing, children shouldn't ask too many questions. Looking at the spirited child, I also began to fall into deep thought. If we calculate the time, his things should be coming too. That's right, it's his uncle Bei Xiaochen. Looking at the ambiguous situation of intimacy before my eyes, I, knowing everything, felt extremely gratified. Such an effective scene is indeed heartwarming. It's truly my evil that has tainted your pure love. Although there was a bit of an issue with the plot between the male and female leads, Bei Xiaochen's side was still developing normally. After all, he was poisoned by the Kuei clan's strange toxin and needed Fei Yu to use the secret method from the Imperial Book to heal him. However, from the TV script's perspective, whenever Fei Yu was refining pills for Bei Xiaochen, there would always be some strange mishaps. Could this be the director's tricky plot? Just as I was pondering, the big shot's shout interrupted my thoughts. What, you want me to refine pills for you? Are you an idiot? To this, I had 10,000 unwillingnesses. You two can go on with your plot however you like. In contrast, Bei Xiaochun was smilingly talking about my invention of instruments. He didn't forget to eloquently praise my abilities, and I was really done with this old fox. If I refused, I'm afraid my head would be twisted off. As they say, the wise adapt to circumstances. I reluctantly accompanied Fei Yu to prepare the necessary herbs. Just as the kid and I were about to go back to the room to get the instruments, our clever explorer came. What nonsense about Bei Xiaochen. I'll just poison him and kill him off. Although that's what was said, it definitely can't be done. Not to mention that woman would notice. There's also the big shot, this top-tier powerhouse. If it gets exposed, the master would be in danger. After a series of calculations, the little explorer made the most correct decision of his life. After a period of condensation, a green pill appeared before everyone's eyes. In contrast, Fei Yu still seemed somewhat apprehensive, constantly muttering about the complexity of the pill. Bei Xiaochen beside him also spoke words of comfort. As a spectator, I could tell at a glance that this was definitely a failed product. In contrast, the big shot had a bitter expression on his face. It seemed that after an internal struggle, he gritted his teeth and swallowed it in one gulp. Suddenly, a strange sensation surged through the big shot's heart. Along with the continuous release of spiritual energy from his body, thick smoke filled the surrounding alleys and streets. Could this be a smoke bomb that was swallowed whole? As the thick smoke slowly dissipated, our adorable little white-haired Shota has arrived. Bei Xiaochen never dreamed that. He just received a Children's Day gift and turned into this harmless appearance. I say, big shot, blame the right person. Don't throw a tantrum at me. In contrast, the big shot's face grew increasingly gloomy. Why are you standing? Sit down. Seeing this, I really knelt down. It's all because of my 1.8 meter long legs, causing trouble. See how standard my posture is? However, just as I was in a dilemma, my Fei Yu finally arrived. She then explained why the big shot turned into a child. Actually, it was just blah 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 blah. Such a fancy explanation left us both bewildered. Simply put, just use spiritual power to suppress it. In contrast, the big guy looked completely lost. After all, he's now using most of his spiritual power to suppress the toxin. If he diverts any more power, he might just pass out. Seeing this, Fei Yu also bent down and softly comforted him. Don't worry, we'll definitely solve this. At this moment, just like that time before, the image of an old friend once again surged in the big shot's mind. Feel free to try. If you need any herbs, just come find me. Seeing this, I was a bit confused. I felt like the big shot seemed a little sad. After multiple attempts, Fei Yu's tries all ended in failure, as expected. However, today the big guy couldn't find his mom. Be good. Fei Yu went to participate in the competition today. Oh, then let's go watch the competition together. Miss Rome shouldn't refuse me, right? Listen to this. Is this even human talk? Looking at his dark expression, I'm afraid the person who refused him probably has grass growing on their grave as tall as him by now. I was deeply frightened by this. Yes, I'm willing. Absolutely no one forced me. After a period of silence, we finally arrived at the competition venue. I felt quite relieved about this. After all, a child who doesn't cry or make a fuss is almost as precious as a national treasure. But today's tasks still need to be completed first. After coaxing the big guy, I quietly slipped away. At this moment, in the logistics area of the competition, I was crouching in a corner, secretly observing. Suddenly, an unexpected greeting startled me. But a big shot is a big shot. In no time, he safely brought me to the pill-making room. I was angry but didn't dare to speak. After a few pleasantries, we started looking for Fei Yu's pill furnace. Just as I was about to do a routine check, a sudden creaking sound interrupted our actions. We saw a black shadow flash by. The evil forces made a dazzling entrance. After some fumbling around, the person in black put something strange into Fei Yu's pill furnace. Then they casually walked away from the scene. As they say, with the script in hand, the world is mine. How could such a small trick escape my keen eye? I then took out the cold magnet and started explaining its effects to the big sister. I remember in the script, Fei Yu's furnace exploded once because of this thing. Fortunately, there wasn't any major damage. Hearing this, Uncle became even more furious. Before I could finish explaining the situation, the second, third, and fourth waves of evil forces made their dazzling entrance. I said, can't you put something else in for comfort? Just like that, we successfully collected 4 cold magnets. However, what I didn't know was that, at the same time, we also collected 4 portions of burning rage from the cunning uncle. I never dreamed that my pot exploding ability could come in handy, especially to cause trouble for Kuin Kuin. Just now, a certain contestant named Kuin Kuin, who wishes to remain anonymous, had his furnace explode spectacularly. While being treated, he kept muttering not enough explosions and keep exploding, possibly due to brain damage from the explosion. In contrast, by Xia Ochengrind, as they say, a drop of kindness should be repaid with a gushing spring. It's not too much to blow him up to half paralysis, right? To this, I agreed. You're the boss. Whatever you say is right. I never expected that after learning about my furnace exploding constitution, the big shot's first thought was to use it to harm others. I was like, oh boy. Remember in the script, Kuin Kuin was supposed to battle the female lead to the finals, a boss-level minor villain. Now he's been carried away by a professional team. Then what was the point of me going to Eldering Gang's place earlier? Don't I need to save face? My current mood is like watching Snow White hiccup and cough out the poison apple, then ride off into the sunset with her brothers and the princess. Can you imagine that? That's what I'm saying. As long as the big shot doesn't take me away, he can do whatever he wants. However, some are happy while others are worried. Our dear second elder was fuming. He immediately ordered Kuin Kuin's father to take people to complain to the 4th prince. Introduced by the 4th prince, Kuin Kuin and his father successfully came before the crown prince. Kuin Kuin politely clasped his cute little hands, speaking pitifully about how Fei Yu used the cold magnet to cause his furnace to explode, to harm him by exploding his furnace. The 4th prince also chimed in, determined to bring Fei Yu down. But who is our crown prince? As the head of the CP fans, he had to think rationally for a moment. He then ordered someone to bring in the Rome family couple. Kuin Kuin was also delighted. After all, he was quite skilled at false testimony. I never dreamed that the big shot just wanted me to provoke Kuin Kuin, and I directly sent him in. Can you imagine that? At this moment, hearing about Kuin Kuin's false accusation, the big shot was truly angry. I'm not exaggerating. If I hadn't held him back, Kuin Kuin might have already met his demise in the Northwest. I said, big shot, didn't you say my original force was special and undetectable? How could it be discovered? To this, the big shot was somewhat indignant. When I want to frame someone, they'll find a way. If that's the case, my poor Fei Yu is in trouble. Just as I was at a loss, the big shot directly slapped an all-access pass on my face, telling me to rush to the rescue. He then stated that as long as we manage to provoke the other party and escalate it to the judging panel's intervention, we can definitely clear Feiyu's suspicion. What about you, Big Shot? How polite of you. Meanwhile, Feiyu was explaining how she had been wrongly accused. In contrast, Kuin and his father started with a round of intimidation. Feiyu was truly fed up with this. What was supposed to be a sweet afternoon tea with her lover had been ruined by these two idiots. Saying this, she began to build up her emotions. Immediately, a touch of tenderness slid from the corner of her eye. We are from the same root. Why are we hurting each other so urgently? Aren't you just disgracing our own family's reputation? Clearly, the Crown Prince liked this boohoo act. Meanwhile, Kuin was speechless. He wondered, is it too late for me to cry now? Then Feiyu questioned Kuin about how he knew the coal magnet would cause the furnace to explode and why he falsely accused her. At this point, Kuin was left speechless. Suddenly, a glamorous figure made a dazzling entrance. That's right, it was Kuin who did it. Why should others bear the consequences of your own stupidity? This scene, it seemed like a touch of tenderness or perhaps a touch of romance. Dear darling, I come to save you. Such a wonderful scene naturally came from someone's imagination. Seeing that the newcomer was my CP, the boss directly and fairly opened a back door for me. The fourth prince had no objection to this. After all, the more people involved in a fight, the more exciting it is. After a standard round of trash talk, the first round of the battle began. I said, "You little trash, you can't play fair. You don't even dare to confront me directly. The cold magnet I found in the furnace is evidence that someone framed me. Don't tell me you're just making random accusations without evidence. Aren't you the ones who benefit the most from my disqualification?" Watching the battle scene between me and Kuin, Feiyu fell into deep thought. Could it be that Ning Xian is deliberately provoking the other party? She then urged the probe to act. Kuin, provoked by the probe's stimulation, became increasingly angry. I directly hit him with a "you do it if you're so good" combo, delivering a comet strike. How is it not okay? I just bribed the logistics staff to throw awakening lion heads into his furnace. I never dreamed that I would experience such intimate closeness with the little sister, with half my face buried in her. Due to Kuin's self-exposure, all the cheating behaviors in the single-round competition and the semifinals were made public. This also caused strong dissatisfaction among the eliminated candidates. And the Rome family, at the center of the whirlpool, naturally became the target of criticism. After joint proposals from the three major families, the Crown Prince finally decided to let all candidates have an additional round. Hearing this news, the Rome family women were overjoyed. After all, even I, who was so bad I couldn't pass the preliminaries, got another chance. However, thinking carefully, I remember in the script, it was because Bei Xiaochen learned that Feiyu had been framed, leading to a thorough investigation. But Kuin, as the villain boss, cleverly escaped unscathed. And in the end, because the matter got so big, it led to an additional test open to all candidates. But all of this happened to Bei Xiaochun before he became a big shot. Now that I've stolen the big shot's plot, yet the additional test still appears as usual. Could this be the so-called plot continuity? It seems I'd better lay low. However, things didn't go as planned. Ask yourself, if a beautiful, pure-hearted young girl held your hands, sweetly begging you to go shopping together, would you refuse? After all, we're all eye dogs. I really couldn't resist. And so, I successfully arrived at the additional test venue. Seeing us, the crowd began to discuss, constantly criticizing the Rome family's bad behavior. I was a bit worried about this. If it affects my baby's performance, that wouldn't be good. In contrast, Feiyu's face was gloomy, wishing she could eliminate everyone who affected my participation. At this moment, a handsome red-haired guy made a dazzling entrance. The newcomer was Zhou Wangfei, the eldest son of the Zhou family. I heard it was you two who made the Crown Prince send Kuin away. Hearing this, I was a bit startled. The plot hadn't even started, and someone was already here to cause trouble. In contrast, Feiyu stepped forward bravely. So what if we did? What's wrong with the Crown Prince enforcing the law fairly? At this, Xiao Feifei looked embarrassed. Suddenly, a delicate arm reached out and smacked Xiao Feifei on the head. Don't you know how to talk? Is this how you greet people? Are you here to fight? After delivering her output, the young lady politely stepped forward to apologize. I am Feng Hui from the Feng family. Xiao Feifei accidentally offended you too. Please forgive us. Hearing this, Xiao Feifei was displeased. He then began criticizing the Rong family's underhanded underhanded behavior. Just like that, the two started bickering back and forth. Watching such a delightful pair of bickering lovers, I was totally shipping it. I then stopped Feiyu from intervening midway. As they say, when you're unlucky enough, trouble falls from the sky. Seeing me being bullied by the red-haired guy, the young lady was truly angered. She directly used an iron grip, pulling me into those towering, majestic mountains. This delicate situation made Feiyu feel a deep sense of crisis. She immediately pulled me out of that intoxicating, wonderful place. Just then, a man in blue stopped the two from arguing. He turned to introduce himself to me. Suddenly, the opening of the competition interrupted the man's words. If that's the case, then we'll see each other in the additional round. Hearing this, Feiyu once again fell into crisis. She hurriedly asked about the newcomer, but I really don't know. Could it be some respectable woman the original owner had flirted with before? Moments later, as expected, the alchemy conference borrowed the big shot's energy for enhancement. Knowing the plot, I naturally didn't have the dumbfounded look on my face like others did. And this action was just caught by the big shot, as the elder's magical power continued to surge. The illusion trial of the alchemy conference finally began. The big shot never dreamed that I would be the woman he could never handle in this life. The so-called Four Symbols Law Ring is a powerful energy that can create large-scale illusions and set rules. Among them is the rule of no mutual attacks. As for other competition rules, they naturally have nothing to do with certain people. As the domain expanded, I suddenly appeared in a dense jungle. So Feiyu, However, the emptiness behind me made me realize, alright, we're in an illusion now. Finding Feiyu might be a bit difficult, so I could only set off on the journey alone. However, what I didn't know was that the nightmare was just beginning. On the other side, Feiyu was methodically searching for various herbs. As she called out their names, the spirit stones in her hand disappeared into thin air. It seems that the herbs found would be converted into points. As for this panel, it probably has other uses too. Having said that, she urged the probe to start working. The probe was quite annoyed by this. That thing was specifically requested by your master, you know? I know. You're very reproductive. In another part of the forest, Xiao Feifei was leisurely strolling on the grassland. As I remember this, before the words could be finished, Old Six behind him directly blurted out the herb's effects. The plane snatched away the figure and left arrogantly. Seeing this, Xiao Feifei was so angry his teeth itched. However, fate is just so coincidental. Some people land in pairs. Some people are still single dogs until now. I said, why are you here? How did you see me? You're very unwilling, aren't you? Suddenly, a series of wonderful greetings interrupted the two's emotional exchange. Looking in the direction of the sound, the scene before their eyes made the two directly dumbfounded. That's right, he came. He came escaping with Princess Nyo. As a result, the number of people originally escaping successfully increased to 4. Suddenly, the delicate little sister's figure softened, just as she was about to fall. A powerful arm suddenly caught her. Then, in a princess carry posture, he directly embraced the little sister into his arms. I've told you to cultivate well, but you didn't listen. At this, I directly shipped it. See, what'd I say? In contrast, the little sister buried her head coyly, involuntarily letting out a light moan. However, some are happy while others are worried. This scene was fully captured by the outside world. What's going on? Why are there elemental beasts in the illusion? In contrast, the host was about to cry. Why do I have to take the blame for the big shot's idea? Then he could only shamelessly explain forcefully. After all, it's normal to have a few monsters near Lingji, right? And killing them can also earn points. But one wave hadn't settled when another arose. I say, Brother Zhou, your son is hugging my daughter. This seems very inappropriate, right? It's not me hugging her. Don't come to me. Seeing the situation becoming tense, the crown prince could only step in to stop it. Since it's that person's decision, there must be a reason. It's good to let the contestants experience some danger in advance. Hearing this, everyone responded in agreement. Looking at the alchemists fleeing in panic from the elemental beasts, Bei Xiaoshan, sitting on the tree, couldn't help but snort coldly. Although they are alchemists, their cultivation shouldn't be neglected. If this were outside, I'm afraid corpses would be strewn everywhere. Suddenly, a hint of playfulness flashed across the big guy's face. I remember Rong Linxian is quite timid. I wonder if he's been scared to tears. However, the scene before his eyes made the big guy's tiger body tremble. Impossible. His score is something we never dreamed of. We even had cows coming to us asking for cough syrup, and they asked for 2 bottles at once. After a round of negotiations with Princess Nyonyo, we successfully escaped danger. At this, Xiao Feifei was somewhat indignant, criticizing our reckless behavior. In contrast, the little sister was more rational, gently inquiring about the cause of our situation. After some discussion, the little sister also deduced some clues. Remember that everything in the illusion is being synchronized and projected. In this situation, if the family matters are still continuing, it can only mean that this is also part of the test. Having said that, she prepared to conduct an experiment. Hearing this, Xiao Feifei had a face like a dog eating shit. Could it be that our appearance just now was also? On the other side, the audience outside was already overjoyed. Look, that group of people is so silly. On that day, humanity remembered the fear of being dominated by arrows. I'm fearless about this. After all, what's rotten is already rotten. Might as well just give up. A moment later, after testing by capturing Mickey using spirit plants, we also confirmed the hypothesis about the connection between spirit plants and spirit beasts. Look at this cute little brain. Even our straight guy, Xiao Feifei, couldn't help but exude a strong girlish aura. We can really earn points. Watching the little sister's dejected back, the iron-hearted straight guy couldn't help but sigh. Women are really inexplicable. After discussion, we 4 finally decided to act together. As they say, since we're here, we might as well make the best of it. Being a freeloader in someone else's team isn't bad either. Just then, a fur ball suddenly hit my fragile skull. Then, with lightning speed, it disappeared from my hand. Miss Rome, do you have anything to say? To this, I had tears in my eyes. No. Very good. You all must find all the spirit values in sight. You know, after a search, everyone except me gained their respective points. After all, I just want to be a small trash that doesn't fight with the world. At this moment, the carbon ball was hiding in the dark, constantly clicking its tongue. It's all because of you that I'm so troubled. Anyway, this is an illusion. It's normal if something unexpected happens, right? Having said that, it left. Looking at the bickering couple working hard in front of me, I couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment in my heart. Ning Xian, kill him. Let's go find the next one. Seeing that I was about to make excuses, Xiao Feifei directly put Mickey into my hands. Don't shake, just press gently. However, it wasn't me who was shaking that delicate heart, but Princess Nyonyo's misplaced cough syrup. Just as everyone was escaping, crisis struck again. The second Princess Nyonyo directly flanked from behind, then formed a pincer attack. This is bad. I never dreamed that the skills I once learned would come in handy in another world. And it's the kind that's twice as effective with half the effort. Faced with Princess Nyonyo's front and back attack, I couldn't help but recall memories from my previous life. I remember the teacher once said, "What attracts bulls isn't the red cloth, but the matador's swaying body." Looking at it this way, brothers, I have a bold idea. Hearing this, everyone looked at me eagerly. Seeing this, I began to explain my plan. Currently, Nyonyo has formed a front and back pincer attack. As long as we sway our bodies to attract Nyonyo's attention, wait for them to charge forward and then dodge, we can definitely make them collide with each other. Now, follow me in the secret technique of repeated jumping. This situation greatly shocked everyone. Just as I was urging everyone to jump, Princess Nyonyo directly made a wild charge, butting me far away. As my body fell shakily, the blood inside, mixed with sorrow, slowly flowed out. I must convey this message. Don't stop. Such a touching act. It couldn't help but tug at everyone's heartstrings. We absolutely can't let Ning Xian's efforts go to waste. Suddenly, with lightning speed, they jumped into that nimble step. And this situation just happened to provoke Nyonyo's anger. Just as Nyonyo was stepping forward, everyone seized the opportunity to dodge. Annie, following a violent sound, our lovely Princess Nyonyo finally met her demise in the northwest. Seeing this, the little sister happily used facial cleanser to give me a face cleansing. To be honest, the effect wasn't bad. and this crime scene was just in time to be fully captured by Feiyu, who came rushing at the sound. Mine, it's all fucking mine. After some quibbling, Feiyu roughly understood the situation. Then she began to share her findings. According to the investigation, all elemental beasts were driving participants towards the outer circle, and the closer to the center, the more spirit values there were. Hearing this, everyone had a sudden realization. They then expressed their gratitude to Feiyu. In contrast, what bad intentions could our Feiyu have? She just wanted to go alone with me into the depths of the small forest. I was completely bewildered by this. Before I could react, the blue-robed master understood. Our little sister also got it, only leaving some straight guys confused. As they say, if there are more herbs, the speed of allocating points for singles and couples will be faster. Hearing this, I finally understood Feiyu's good intentions towards me. She truly is a beautiful and kind-hearted little fighter. After some pleasantries, everyone began to leave. A moment later, the kid and I came to the depths of the secret realm to look for Lingji. I remember in the script, Feiyu accidentally fell into a cave and found rare Lingji, gaining a lot of points. If I'm by her side, will it interfere with the plot development? Maybe I should find an excuse to slip away. Just then, Feiyu, who had finished picking fruits, gently greeted me. Then she leaped down from the tree branch. How could our Feiyu have any bad intentions? Such a graceful and delicate figure, and this noble and elegant, charming posture. It's truly worthy of, what the hell? How did it suddenly appear? So-called exams, and such are all about participation. After all, humans all have their limits. Looking at Feiyu, who had fallen into the cave, I couldn't help but worry about her situation. Hearing this, Feiyu also reported back to me that she was safe and stated that there were many precious spirit plants in the cave that she wanted to explore. I deeply believe this without doubt. After all, this is the female lead's opportunity. I should find something to fish her up with. Well, in contrast, Feiyu at this moment was indeed a bit worried. Countless elemental beasts were surging around her, as if they would devour her completely the next moment. Why? Why every time I want to be with Ning Xian, I encounter trash like you? Seeing this situation, the little monsters only then realized the danger. However, it was too late. At this moment, Feiyu had already started slaughtering wildly. After a long time, Feiyu climbed out of that terrifying cave without any danger. She then said she wanted to help me gain points. To this, I was full of bitterness. Points, and such are all fleeting clouds. I said, young one, points are not important. What's important is the process of participating in the competition. Do you understand? Suddenly, a long cry echoed through the illusion realm. Knowing the plot well, I immediately recognized it as the assembly horn. I then pulled Zai Zai and ran towards the direction of the sound. A moment later, we successfully arrived at the assembly site. With the sounding of the fifth horn, a blue barrier surrounded everyone. It then blocked the subsequent late-coming examinees. Now then, please have the examinees come forward to display their points. Just then, an examinee suddenly rushed towards me, and in a corner I didn't notice, a scroll quietly fell. Young lady, is this scroll yours? Hearing this, I was completely bewildered. At this moment, some latecomers couldn't stand it anymore. Sir, I saw it fall from him. As the controversy grew louder, the judges on the stage began to call for order. Reporting to you, sir, this young lady cheated during the exam. These words instantly alerted everyone. As the scroll in hand unfolded, the exam answers were fully revealed to the judges. Young lady, do you have anything else to say? Hearing this, everyone began to accuse me of cheating. I was even more confused by this. Impossible. How did another development outside the plot occur? I then explained my innocence to the officials. However, this was of no use. Even the defense from acquaintances only made things worse. Seeing this, the fourth prince also showed some impatience, urging his servants to take me away for severe punishment. Meanwhile, the crown prince stopped this unwise action. As the situation continued to escalate, the audience began to hurl insults. Seeing this, I couldn't help but feel agitated. Who exactly was trying to frame me? Was this the result of me changing the plot? Then I made a firm decision. Pursing my lips defiantly, I bowed and shouted, "Your Highnesses, although I cannot prove where this scroll came from, I can prove that I, a noob, did not cheat. As a noob and poor student, I could actually turn the tables against the odds, even slapping the faces of various bigwigs. At this moment, I was trying hard to defend myself. I, a noob, did not cheat. So young yet daring. daring to show off. You think it's not cheating just because you say so? That's right. Even if the Jade Emperor himself came, I still didn't cheat. Seeing this, the fourth prince also began to mock. In contrast, I had a resolute expression. If possible, I wouldn't want to stimulate everyone in this way. As my fingers slowly fell, a bright and shiny points panel appeared magnificently before everyone's eyes. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. Even a female lead's eye couldn't help but tremble. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. And all of this started from that splat when I arrived in the illusion realm. Looking at that soul-scattered weed under my feet, the points panel suddenly sounded a deduction alert. What the hell? How did I lose points? Suddenly, a second small flower disappeared behind my head with a painful sound. You've got to be kidding me. Who starts off by destroying 2 flowers? However, facts proved otherwise. I was truly impressed by this. While others were competing to find herbs, I was moving in slow motion with my left and right feet, afraid of stepping on something strange. Just then, cautious me bumped into a handsome guy in blue. After some pleasantries, I learned that these mountain fruits were also a type of lingji. Suddenly, a sound alerted us. We saw Princess Nyo charging towards me with overwhelming momentum. This scared me so much that I immediately climbed up a tree like a monkey. As Nyo collided with the tree, not only fruits flew up with me, but also countless falling mechanisms. Hey, what does a bull's collision have to do with me? Afterwards, whether teaming up with the little sister or finding something to fish you out, I could precisely destroy precious herbs without fail. Hee, let all be destroyed. It doesn't matter anymore. Looking at the bright minus 250 points above my head, everyone was dumbfounded. Cheating is impossible. Who would cheat and still get this score? As everyone fell silent, a voice of dissent broke the silence. A chubby bystander said tearfully, I believe Miss Rome. How could someone cheat and still get the lowest score in history? Like a tidal wave, the momentum to clear my name gradually grew. That's right, Miss Rome is wronged. How could someone cheat and still get minus 250? This is her true ability. She's genuinely bad at this. That day, the malicious false accusations of the mastermind were shattered by my irrefutable facts. And at the same time, my last dignity as a poor student was also listed. What happens when you pinch a big shot's little face? Of course, you'll be pushed down to lay eggs. After the noob incident, I stood alone in the pavilion, observing. Although I proved my innocence with my ability, thinking about the crowd's mockery and ridicule, I was really so angry. Such a large-scale humiliation scene. I might as well just wash it off. Suddenly, a voice interrupted my embarrassment. I saw Zai stepping on the breeze, slowly saying, instead of standing here like a pile driver, why not have a drink with me? Seeing this, I immediately became alert. Kids can't drink alcohol. Taking this fragrant and sweet wine, I immediately downed it in one gulp. How to put it? Why does this water have no taste? Before the big shot could mock my half-cup tolerance, I immediately pounced like a hungry tiger, grabbing Zai's cute little face. Whose little one is this? He looks so cute. Imagine a 1,000-year-old child being humiliated like this. Could you bear it if it were you? He directly flicked my forehead with his finger. I howled in pain because of this. In contrast, Zai just smiled mischievously. Seeing this, I became furious. My slightly drunk face, filled with endless grievance, instantly fell. Along with Zai's abrupt stop, I cried out with an ah, you're all laughing at me. I've really been trying hard to learn. But why, even though I've been studying for several nights, did I still lose so many points? And they're all still laughing at me. This situation directly made Zai at a loss. He clearly had never comforted a girl before, like an old dog of 10,000 years. Suddenly, a brilliant rainbow burst forth from my mouth. That day, the big shot who had conquered the 4 directions saw the most unforgettable sight of his life. After some fumbling, Zai successfully threw me back into the dormitory. Then, holding his buzzing head, he prepared to leave. Suddenly, a wave of compassion surged in his heart. Seeing how hard you've tried, I'll give you a small reward. And so, strange things happened. The next day, I suddenly sat up from my daze. Although I forgot what happened last night, but why did I lay such a big egg? What is called human reality. Imagine if you had to do a blood test with your egg. Could you bring yourself to do it? Just as I was staring at my egg, not knowing what to do, my know-it-all little one came. When in doubt, ask, is it normal to lay such a big egg in another world? Normal, very normal. Look, my egg hatched into this little thing. But this egg was given to me by Senior Bei Xiaocheng. Looking at such a soft little squirrel, I couldn't let it go. I suppose it must be a reward from the senior for your excellent performance in the competition. Hearing this, Fei Yu's face stiffened. She couldn't help but recall the big shot's words. Let him climb trees in the future. What if you break through the floor again? You're the fat one. Your whole family is fat. Then she changed the subject, teaching me how to form a contract with the egg. According to Fei Yu, I just needed to drip a drop of blood first. But at this moment, a sense of crisis washed over me. Fei Yu, unaware of the situation, was still chattering away with me. In contrast, my face was getting increasingly grim. After a moment of silence, I directly burst into tears with a wah. Such a big needle stabbing myself hurts so much. Seeing this, the little squirrel sighed helplessly. It quickly flashed over and bit a small cut on my finger. For this, I was truly grateful. Baby, you're so good. However, in a corner I didn't know about, a certain little squirrel was facing an unprecedented life and death crisis. With the infusion of spiritual power, a glowing snail suddenly appeared before our eyes. According to Fei Yu's explanation, this was a defensive type elemental pet very suitable for weaklings. To stack the thickest armor and take the most poisonous hits, right? After learning about some precautions, Fei Yu also prepared to say goodbye and go to the competition. However, knowing the plot, I wasn't worried at all about not being there. How would be the finals? I remember in the story, to prevent cheating, they deliberately made a feint. First, they would conduct a comprehensive inspection of the contestants, then isolate them for a day before the exam, rather than going to the competition to be mocked. Isn't it nicer to stay at home and raise snails? Suddenly, a small notebook caught my attention. Huh, isn't this the notebook that Zai just brought in? No, I must deliver it to him. Suddenly, the teasing voices of others echoed in my mind again. But this time I was fearless. Laugh if you want. A bunch of irrelevant people are not as important as my Fei Yu. However, if nothing unexpected happens, the unexpected happened. I never dreamed that I, who knew the plot so well, will be forcibly pushed down by this well-dressed beast. At this moment, I was sitting in the carriage heading to the exam venue, holding the little notebook. Suddenly, a battered handsome man in blue clothes darted in front of the carriage. Seeing this, I stepped forward with concern. You don't know until you ask, and when you ask, you're shocked. So he was being chased and hunted. Couldn't you have gotten on my carriage before explaining? Just then, a shout interrupted our thoughts. Don't panic, miss. My carriage is the fastest in the entire capital. Set sail with me. Seeing this, the horse seemed to be on steroids, directly galloping towards the distant freedom, leaving behind two lonely figures. Wait, I haven't gotten on the carriage yet. Before I could complain, the hunting group stepped forward. After a bout of running with young Master Lu, we successfully escaped the pursuit. Looking at young Master Lu sighing about missing the finals, I felt a pang of unease. Why aren't you going to the finals? Hearing this, the handsome guy's face darkened. He then explained defensively, what are you talking about, Miss Rome? Wasn't I being chased? To this, I couldn't agree. There are patrol soldiers arranged by Prince Xian all along the competition route. And why did you release paper kites to frame me? Seeing that things couldn't be hidden anymore, young Master Lu burst into laughter. They say the eldest daughter of the Rome family is reckless and brainless, but it seems you're not so stupid after all. Let me think. Is it because I pulled you with my injured left hand just now? And those assassins' acting skills weren't that great either. Did you notice all of this? In contrast, I had a confused look and said, no, that's not it. In the secret realm, I only had contact with 3 people in total. Do you think Prince Zhou's wife has that kind of brain? To this, the handsome guy also agreed deeply. What about Miss Foam? She's quite clever. Hearing this, I blushed. Sister Foam? If she wanted to prevent me from advancing, there would be simpler and more brutal ways. Hearing this, young Master Lu also admitted his mistake. In contrast, I was slightly puzzled. We have no past grudges or recent enmity. Why frame me? Seeing this, young Master Lu was so angry his teeth itched. Do you remember? A year ago, it was because you went to the brothel to find Prince Xian that that you exposed the scandal of the Zhao and Lu families. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Suddenly, images flashed in my mind again. Wait, a year ago, I hadn't even transmigrated yet. Could it be because of that incident? That's right. Madame Lu is my mother. It's all because of you. You caused my mother to be divorced and my father to be humiliated. Even I was suspected of not being their biological child. Seeing this, I was about to cry. I'm really sorry about this too. But isn't this unethical? In contrast, the handsome guy coldly snorted. I'm not here today to discuss right and wrong with you. Today, I want you to feel my pain and even more. Other villains would just directly do that thing when they come. But he actually tried to reason with me. I don't want to hurt him either. At this moment, the handsome guy was full of anger, ready to vent on me at will. No way, no way. Brother wouldn't hit me, would he? Seeing this, the handsome guy clenched his fists in anger. Mere violence aesthetics. How can it compare to my pain? What I'm going to do to you is even worse than this. So here's the question. What should one do when entering a villain's plot? Of course, throw questions at him. This way, he'll be forced to answer your doubts meticulously. Haha, you escaped the retest last time. This time, you can't escape the blame for secretly harming professional players. Hearing this, I was suddenly shocked. You bastard. It turns out you didn't appear in the story, but were directly taken away in the semifinals. Seeing this, the handsome guy became even more arrogant, directly threatening to ruin my and the Rome family's reputation, saying things like he can only be at the bottom in the competition, so he might as well use it to scheme against people, and something about making false testimony, making me lose face in front of my beloved Prince Xian's tomb. Looking at such ambitious revenge, I felt a bit embarrassed to say it out loud. Actually, the competition is tomorrow. Even if Prince Xian came, he would only take you to the exam venue. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. After saying this, he ordered his servants to go and investigate. However, the silence moments later made the handsome guy awkwardly scratch out of Trinity. Damn it. Even if I can't ruin your reputation today, I'll still let your beloved Prince Xian know that you're a vicious woman. Ah, he probably knew about this a year ago, right? Hearing this, the handsome guy's trash talk that was about to come out got stuck in his throat. I don't care. Sooner or later, I'll make your infamy spread far and wide, mocked wherever you go. Although it might be a bit hurtful, I felt it necessary to explain. Actually, these two achievements seem to have been accomplished not long ago. Seeing this, the handsome guy was stunned again. Then, endless anger mixed with resentment erupted. It's not enough. My pain is above yours. How could you understand the pain of being separated from my birth mother? Let you feel the pain of being separated from flesh and blood. I said, is there a possibility, by any chance I'm just an adopted daughter of the Rome family? The kind that's been separated from flesh and blood for over a decade. Hearing this, the handsome guy couldn't hold it anymore. After a bout of elderly wall leaning, he sat down tiredly. Go. I'm already done for. Looking at the handsome guy who had tried so hard, I felt a bit sorry. As I left, I didn't forget to timidly apologize. Although it was unintentional, it was extremely insulting. This directly broke down the handsome guy's last psychological defense. Mom, you were right. I'm not suited to be a villain. Moments later, upon hearing the news, Father Lu decided to go home to reprimand the handsome guy for his impulsive behavior. However, the scene before him made him shudder. He saw a little master, bald to the point of shining, responding without desire or pursuit. Father, the past is but smoke and clouds. Thanks to Miss Rome, I've realized that obsessing over revenge is meaningless. From now on, I will seek new meaning. Let's part ways here. If this were the college entrance exam scene, would you be happy going in or coming out? At this moment, having reformed the little master, I was hurriedly running towards Prince Xian, indicating that I wanted to bring the notebook to Fei Yu. To avoid misunderstandings, Prince Xian also accompanied me. The silence along the way made me awkwardly ask, I did such a stupid thing yesterday. Will you mock me? Unexpectedly, Prince Xian comforted me, saying, this retest was very difficult. You were just unfortunate to be remembered by others. I've never participated, so naturally, I won't criticize anything. Moreover, I feel that if I haven't even tried hard myself, what right do I have to point fingers at others? Hearing such warm words, my heart couldn't help but flutter. I immediately responded with a good brother, I really thank you. You see, moments later, we successfully arrived at the contestants' exam venue. However, the scene before us made us shudder. Such passionate love and hate. Such blood-boiling ups and downs. And these two innocent girls who hadn't gotten deeply involved. Could it be that we misunderstood the situation? Just before the blue-robed master renounced worldly affairs, Feiyu, who had completed the entrance check, sensed something amiss. How come only 15 out of the 16 finalists had arrived? Looking closely, it turned out the blue-robed little master was missing. The first time I saw him, Tanshio sensed the thick malice around him, and just when the little master was about to lay hands on me, Tanshio, upon learning the news, directly and maliciously added fuel to the fire. Seeing this, he panicked. He then gestured for the little squirrel to add some strong stuff to the soup to knock everyone out. However, humans and animals can't communicate their feelings. The so-called ups and downs, isn't it just passionate combat sports? The little squirrel misunderstood him, and so the situation gradually became intense. Seeing me arrive safely, Feiyu immediately turned 3 parts innocent and 7 parts confused, worrying about my situation. To this, I didn't say much, just handed the notebook to Feiyu. After all, Master Lu didn't do anything too excessive. If it affected the kid's exam, that wouldn't be good. Tell me, what bad intentions could 2 people who care about each other have? But I don't understand. Why does your relationship seem so subtle? Just then, a discordant voice suddenly emerged. Just then, little Fei Fei, who had finished stacking the human pyramid, stepped forward in tattered clothes. Miss Feng, you're the only one left. This scared the young lady, making her stumble. She immediately braced herself, blocking Fei Fei's 8-pack abs. After all, such things are best kept for personal viewing. Unexpectedly, Fei Fei directly declared, I want to win the competition, then use the prize as a betrothal gift to marry you. These words completely bewildered the young lady. See, what did I tell you? These two definitely have something going on. However, the 2 fathers who had just arrived didn't think so. And so, the originally tense situation became even more chaotic. Only Prince Xian was left completely confused from start to finish. Do you know how miserable it is to be a subordinate of the 4th prince? If not forced to take the blame for infidelity, then having wife and children persuaded to run away. Now, even the stage boss has been eliminated prematurely. How can a later plot develop? At this moment, a villain strategist who wished to remain anonymous stepped forward. What's important now is the position of the Rong family head in the first place in the Yan'an Conference. We've all witnessed Lord Kuin's strength. With just a little maneuvering, The next day, the Yan'an Conference proceeded as usual. To avoid being mocked in the audience, Zai Zai specially asked Prince Xian for help. Prince Xian, being somewhat tsundere, brought me to his exclusive VIP seat. He was warmly saying something about it being a small favor. Look, they're all Mom's most beloved little wings. On the other side, Feiyu, who was checking the equipment, had her thoughts interrupted by a handsome guy's voice. Oh, miss, let's have a showdown. In contrast, Feiyu remained silent. After taking a deep breath, she sternly said, I'm not here to have a showdown with you. I'm here to defeat you as agreed. Accompanied by the man's contemptuous laugh, the two's confrontation began. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Chef King competition has finally begun. First, let's randomly interview me. To have today's achievements, I must thank my very brilliant speech. Young Master Zhou, do you have any victory declaration for this conference? I will definitely win first place, then go to the Feng family to propose. Seeing this, the young lady immediately became anxious. I haven't. I never said I'd marry you. But Fei Fei, being a straight man, how could he understand a pure maiden shyness? Don't you want to marry me? Haven't we always liked each other? Could it be that I misunderstood? Seeing the young lady's coy behavior, Fei Fei was also beaming with joy. So are you full? If you're full, let's shift our attention to another pair of pure young lovers. With such a tense atmosphere, would you mind sharing your story? Seeing this, the man prepared to start trash talking. Unexpectedly, Feiyu directly gave a 3-hit combo. I don't know this gentleman. Ignoring his conversation seems impolite, but the competition is about to start, and I'm very nervous. Seeing this, the host was delighted. As they say, beauty is justice. He then had someone escort the flirting man back to his original position. so girls should protect themselves well. Some men who casually flirt are no good. Watching Feiyu let the man leave, I became somewhat confused. Isn't that guy just Kuin in disguise? Why didn't you expose him? In contrast, Feiyu showed no fear. His appearance was undoubtedly due to some behind-the-scenes manipulation. Exposing him would be equivalent to declaring war on an unknown enemy. Besides, I've already promised. Ning Xian wants to win the competition with his own strength. Look at this close-up of the pill. How can it be compared to some chicken snake? After a standard opening battle, the final round's horn finally sounded, with the host's words falling. The arena instantly erupted with countless dazzling flames. First, little Fei Fei summoned his family's fierce fire. Then the young lady showcased her superior drug control. Even that flirting man turned out to be not to be underestimated. As for Feiyu, she closed her eyes tightly, secretly utilizing the power of modern science. Sir, times have changed. As steam continued to rise from the pot, strands of azure medicinal liquid slowly flowed into Feiyu's hands. To others, this scene seemed like certain failure. Unexpectedly, Feiyu gave a wicked smile, stating this was a pill-making method invented by her good sister. She declared she would use this method to win the competition and prove it for me. How's that for a declaration of love? Hearing this, the evaluating elder also cast an appreciative glance. He then began to examine. Suddenly, the fierce flames in Feiyu's medicinal liquid attracted everyone's attention. Little Fei Fei directly produced the herbs and began to condense them. It's actually a 5-elements pill. Should I congratulate the two of you? This move made the young lady blush. Suddenly, a cursing shout came whistling by. Daughter, even if you like that bastard, you can't stay behind. Win against him and make him marry into our family. The old father's words directly opened the door to a new world for the young girl. She immediately started a flurry of actions. As purple spiritual energy continued to pour in, surrounding contestants were shocked. What? Another 5th grade? Just as people were praising. Kuin's wicked charm directly attracted everyone present. Trash is just trash. Let me show you what a real gap looks like. As he spoke, chicken tongue-like spiritual energy whistled. Unexpectedly, the flirting man could actually refine a mid-grade 5th-rank pill. Such skill naturally earned the elder's admiration. But this kid can't handle praise. Before the elder could speak, he started trash-talking Feiyu. In contrast, Feiyu just chuckled. The medicinal liquid in her hand suddenly blossomed. The pure spiritual energy directly stimulated everyone present. Impossible, absolutely impossible. With the sound of the bell, all contestants condensed their pills at the last moment. As expected, Fei Fei and the young lady both refined low-grade, 5th-rank pills. However, this couldn't stop their flirting behavior. As for Kuin, he produced a mid-grade, 5th-rank pill. Why did Feiyu only produce a 4th-rank pill? Adaptation isn't random invention. Pill refining isn't cooking. Feiyu said she refined and improved 5th-rank pill. At this moment, Kuin was sobbing and muttering. Feiyu's made-up story has even me confused. This wasn't in the script either. Clearly, this matter should be left to professionals to decide. The judges exchanged glances and smiled. With a wave of their arms, they gathered all the pills. After careful examination, Kuin's pill was found to be superior in both potency and grade. However, when the judges looked at Feiyu's pill, everyone's eyes widened in surprise. 99.9% purity. Even if we boiled our ribs into soup, we couldn't achieve this level. Hearing this, people began to discuss. Hasn't Miss Rong only been learning pill refining for a few months? How could she be so extraordinary? Upon hearing this, the elder judge was overjoyed. He jumped down from the platform to snatch her away. I said, wait a moment, the judging isn't over yet. Seeing this, the elder also slightly restrained his drooling. There was indeed a genius alchemist before whom modified the detoxifying Qinghan pill into a 5th-grade Biwen Qinghan pill. But yours seems somewhat different. To this, Feiyu smiled and said, that's right. This is my 2nd improved version of the pill. Hearing this, Kuin couldn't sit still. He immediately started trash-talking. Adaptation isn't random invention. What if the improvement fails? So the championship is still mine. Oh, I'm so angry. Why is this chicken so annoying? Can't you let me have a moment of glory? Do I have to jump out and curse? The elders were also moved by Kuan Kuan's words. Although Kuan Kuan's character wasn't good, what he said seemed to make sense. So the people present started arguing about the grade and effect of the pills. At this moment, Feiyu jumped out. If it can form a 5th grade pill, wouldn't that prove it's a Biwen Xinghan pill? Hearing this, the elder nodded in agreement. Seeing this, Feiyu smiled and turned. You just said I couldn't refine a 5th grade pill. Dare you lend me your snake venom? Why not? With that, he threw the snake venom in front of Feiyu. Feiyu didn't back down either. She directly swallowed it in one gulp. In an instant, endless pain surged in her stomach. Such courage naturally won praise from the elders. As the pill was ingested, a fresh aura directly neutralized all the toxins in her body. Even her cute face became much rosier. She then stood up and asked, "Does anyone still have doubts?" Seeing this, Kuan Kuan's face immediately darkened. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. This situation directly caused the crowd to cheer. After all, the facts were right before their eyes. But where some rejoice, others worry. At this moment, somewhere in the audience, a white-haired handsome guy was angrily clenching his fists. They say love affects studies, but why am I the only one who failed and is eating dog food? After an intense battle, Feiyu unsurprisingly won the first place in the pill refining competition. The Crown Prince also awarded generous prizes as usual. Seeing this, the nosy host couldn't sit still. He directly came forward to ask Feiyu for her acceptance speech. In contrast, Feiyu slowly cast an ambiguous glance at me. She kept talking about the support and encouragement I gave her, how we were always together, inseparable, sharing the brilliant glory together. I was like, well done. The child I raised has grown up and knows how to care for mom. Such touching words naturally resonated with the elders. Then they raised their hand and released a spiritual energy, instantly teleporting me in front of Feiyu, leaving behind a confused Prince Xian. Where did my big wife go? Seeing this scene, the unspoken silence spoke louder than words. I directly gave Feiyu a bear hug. Although I already knew the result, I was still a bit excited. Seeing this, Feiyu also shyly patted my shoulder. However, this scene made some people ecstatic. I won't say who. A moment later, after attending the ceremony, I came to the back hall to enjoy the feast. Suddenly, an argument interrupted my meal. Realizing it was my little sister, she also started complaining about Fei-Fei's ignorance. Those 3 judges are from the Wanqing sacred realm. Their purpose is to recruit disciples for the Western sect. Now you're telling me you know nothing about it. Seeing this, I also comforted her. After all, it might be like long-distance relationships after college entrance exams. Unexpectedly, Fei-Fei didn't care at all. What's there to choose? Wherever you go, I'll go. Ajay Feiyu, where's my Feiyu? However, the scene before me made me shudder. I saw 3 top human scholars and 1 emerging prodigy, genius, engaged in an inhuman, mysterious knowledge collision. This scene scared me, a novice, trembling. Elder Mingxian happened to have something to ask. Following the elder's footsteps, we arrived at their temporary residence. However, the scene before us almost scared the shit out of the 3 of them. We saw a white-haired handsome guy standing on a pillar. Kuan Kuan was mockingly taunting the 3 people in front of him. From 8,000-year-old young men to teenagers who are little old men, no one can resist falling under Bei Xiaocheng's domineering charm. At this moment, seeing the visitors in the living room, the 3 elders couldn't stand it anymore. Didn't we agree the master wouldn't come? We've been tricked by that bastard. Seeing the elders being so humble, Feiyu was dumbfounded. However, I found it unsurprising. Suddenly, the boss threw down Kuan Kuan and sternly questioned, "After so many years of disguise, you can't even see through this trash?" Hearing this, I was shocked. These minor characters in the story were actually in disguise. With the boss's angry glare, 3 philosophical figures suddenly appeared before our eyes. Holy crap, I believe you if you told me the boss had 3,000 handsome men. Seeing this, the elders slowly explained the reason. After all, when cultivating to the boss level, one can stay young forever. The disguise was just to make them look more experienced. Hearing this, the boss was displeased. Keep pretending until you can't even recognize trash. Seeing the elders still wanting to argue, the boss became furious. Not recognizing is one thing, but you couldn't even recognize a 5th grade Biwen Qinghan pill. You even made someone swallow poison to prove it. Did you practice alchemy in a dog's stomach? To this, the elders could only repeatedly apologize. Fei Yu, seeing this, also hurried forward to defend the 3 elders. And this situation seemed to touch the boss even more. To prove yourself, you choose to repeat. What if you fail? If you always insist on your own way when facing difficulties in the future, have you thought about the consequences? Suddenly, the figure in my mind gradually faded away, silently walking towards the divide between life and death. Seeing this scene, I felt a surge of restlessness in my heart. I was clearly very afraid of this person, but at this moment, I wanted so much to comfort his powerless back. Suddenly, a knock on the door interrupted this awkward scene. Seeing that the visitors were the elders of the examinees, they immediately brightened up. Then with a quick step, they flashed to their side. Without waiting for a reaction, they directly dragged the person away from this place of trouble, leaving only the helpless figure of a certain white-haired elder. You guys are really dogs. Suddenly, Fei Yu's apology startled the elder. Hearing this, the boss also angrily rubbed his forehead. Then he ordered the elder to go and deal with Kuin's matter. After saying this, he stroked Fei Yu, softly comforting, "I'm sorry. I lost my composure earlier. Your situation is special now. I'll take you to Wanqing Realm after some time. After all, your mother's belongings are still there." Hearing this, Fei Yu couldn't help but clench her little hand. Although she agreed with a smiling face, the resentment in her heart couldn't help but stir. "Then Miss Rong, please take good care of Fei Yu too." To this, I was immediately overwhelmed. In the future, the kid will be my own mother. Not even a real mother is this close. Seeing this, the boss also flashed away. Seeing the kid still a bit dazed, I directly grabbed her little hand and went down for dinner. Seeing this, Fei Yu also slightly eased her emotions. Who cares about anything else? As long as she can be with Ningxuan now, it's fine. The boss is angry. The boss is really angry. A moment ago, Kuin's father was still plotting how to weasel out of the family head position from the bet with Fei Yu. The next moment, he was pressed to the ground by an overwhelming aura. "Dog, eat that." The newcomer's face looked kind. He started with a nuclear greeting. Then he calmly said, "In my life, I hate 2 types of people the most. The first is those who don't keep their promises. The second is that bastard surnamed Long. You guys seem to fit the bill quite well. So let's take some time to keep me company and relax." That day, the 2 elders experienced the most unforgettable first time in their lives. Meanwhile, on our way to the elder hall, we felt increasingly uneasy. Just now, we were still receiving care from our seniors. The 3rd elder sighed helplessly and began to talk about the bet. Hearing this, I immediately understood. It's just someone being a sore loser, right? Seeing this, the 3rd elder also smiled helplessly and began to explain the family's difficulties. In contrast, Dad had already come to terms with it. After all, it was the trouble he caused back then. However, this situation further aroused my gossipy heart. I remember the description of Dad in the story was extremely vague. Although he was the head of the Rome family, the real power of the family had long been hollowed out by the elders. And due to internal conflicts within the family, it led to the Rome family's decline over the past decade or so. It wasn't until Fei Yu's return that they rose up to resist together with Prince Xian. Calculating the time, it should now be the plot where we confront the 2nd elder. It's just a pity for my little one, having to face such a large family at such a young age. Suddenly, a sound broke the calm before us. We saw Kuin's father burst in, ignoring the servant's attempts to stop him. Seeing this, everyone immediately tensed up. I said, "Big brother, please sit down. Let me massage your shoulders." In contrast, Rongfu had a look of disgust. "What are you doing here?" "Oh," the 2nd elder and I suddenly felt that Fei Yu is a promising talent, so we're holding a family meeting to announce this matter. "Keep lying. You old scoundrel, you're up to no good. If we believe you, every word would be an insult to our intelligence." Seeing this, Rongfu directly and firmly refused. In contrast, Kuin's father beside him was almost crying, wiping his snot and tears on Rongfu, as if something terrible would happen if he couldn't get people to come. So, under Kuin's father's enthusiastic invitation, we reluctantly went together to the perilous elders' hall. As they say, unsolicited favors are either evil or thieving. And so, a grand drama of wits against the air began to unfold passionately. I watched more TV dramas than you play mind games. According to my past life's memories, this visit to the Elder's Hall would surely be a bloodbath. And clever me, I saw through the mystery at a glance. You know, there's a possibility, given the second elder's despicable nature. Could it be that we'll be kicked out of the family just for stepping off the carriage with our left foot first? To this, I focus my gaze. I wouldn't give you the chance for such a vile trick. Then, transforming into a graceful figure, I suddenly sprang out of the carriage, landing firmly on both feet, steadily planting myself on the ground. This scene directly embarrassed my father, while the second uncle beside him immediately started praising. Miss Rong is truly majestic, a one-in-a-million heroine. Such abnormal behavior made Fei Yu and me even more alert. Seeing this, my old father couldn't help but come forward to inquire about my condition. I said, "Dad, when things are unusual, there must be something fishy. The second elder must have arranged something. We must be on guard." After my good advice, the rigid duo finally understood. "Don't worry. With us here, they won't be able to harm a hair on your heads." Just then, a respectful welcome came from in front of us. Hearing the words, the rigid duo directly stepped forward. "Oh ho, new faces? You're here to watch the gate? What are you doing here?" "That's right. Why are there exactly two people?" After a harmonious exchange, we also began to enter the corridor, and we clever ones immediately noticed something was off. This red cloth and red rope are too strange. At this moment, the third elder, who had been persuaded, suddenly had a gloomy expression. A chill suddenly burst forth from behind. Could it be? This is the crimson that the second elder purchased recently. Chi Sha Zhan immediately straightened up and stood in front of us. "I understand. I'll take care of this. You all go ahead. Don't worry about me." But, no sooner said than done. The third elder quickly flipped over the decorations in front of us. He must take them and help them survive well. Seeing this, my father also turned away heartlessly. Don't let the third elder's efforts be in vain. However, one wave had not settled when another arose. A row of servants was seen respectfully presenting food to us before we even sat down. They kept muttering that it was specially prepared by the second elder. Such a low-level poisoning trick. How could it escape our discerning eyes? "Come, you must be starving after all this trouble. Sister will give you some good fruit to eat." Afterwards, whether it was something the servants brought or a weed by the roadside, we thoroughly analyzed everything inside and out. After overcoming numerous difficulties, we finally arrived at the final door. However, what met our eyes was indeed that terrifying crimson killing formation, along with that luring grinning face. "Second elder, what exactly are you up to?" "Oh my, I'm just following the bet, here to make Fei Yu the family head." Seeing this, I directly spoke up, telling Dad there must be a trap inside. It might even be the kind where we owe billions. To this, Dad strongly agreed and directly waved his hand in refusal. Hearing these words, the second elder's face immediately tightened, as if a certain white-haired death god was about to crush his bones to dust the next moment. Absolutely not. Meanwhile, the first elder, hearing about Dad causing a commotion in the Elder's Hall, also rushed over upon receiving the news. "Stop fighting, all of you." However, the scene before him made the first elder's body tremble. He saw the second elder and second uncle, with snot and tears, pulling at Dad's shorts, while sobbing and talking about how capable Fei Yu was. "Yin Xian, don't look. Fei Yu, you're pulling my hair." Outside the gate, only the helpless figure of the first elder remained. The first elder was dumbfounded, truly dumbfounded, originally thinking that Dad and the second elder would come to blows over the family head position. But now you're here, giving me a philosophy lesson. Seeing this, the first elder, somewhat overwhelmed, inquired about the situation. Hearing this, the second elder directly began praising Fei Yu's extraordinary talent, saying it didn't matter whether Kuan became the family head or not. Just then, the third elder, having dealt with the Crimson Sand Town, burst through the door. "It must not be. Fei Yu is still young. How can we be so hasty? Who am I? Where am I? Can't you all just behave normally and argue in the middle like before?" But come to think of it, although Kuan is exceptionally talented, he has a violent nature and harms his own family. From this perspective, since Fei Yu has won first place, he should naturally replace Kuan as the candidate for family head. Hearing this, The eliminated second elder was overjoyed. In contrast, those who successfully gained positions had a look of utter confusion. It's really absurd, opening the door to absurdity to the extreme. Just then, a servant suddenly pushed open the door with urgent news. You say Prince Xian wants to talk to me alone? Wen Yin immediately became alert. While the two uninformed people were still praising the perfect match between me and Prince Xian, the next moment, a deathly silence suddenly enveloped them. A moment later, I came to the backyard to meet Prince Xian. Prince Xian took out the listening device installed in the second elder's villa last time and asked if I knew this person. Hearing this, isn't that the cunning Bei Xiaocheng? Well, how should I put it? He's kind of on our side. Hearing this, Prince Xian relaxed a bit. He said this person's background was unclear, and he thought it might be an enemy of a Rome family. Just as I was about to defend the big shot, Prince Xian played the second half of the eavesdropping. Suddenly, a series of philosophical voices filled the entire venom. It stinks so much. If I fell into the big shot's hands, wouldn't I also meet such a terrifying fate? Aegean, are you sure you're okay? But come to think of it, the bizarre behavior of the second elder and Kuin's father might make sense now. In the original plot, Fei Yu was lucky enough to refine a higher-level enhancement pill. Now, with the new pill refining method, he chose the more skilled corrosion pill and then swallowed snake venom to detoxify, which triggered the big shot's anger. I was wondering why these two became Fei Yu's lapdogs. So it was the protective uncle who showed up. Just then, Fei Yu, hearing the painful groans, rushed over to catch us in the act and asked about my well-being. I was a bit nervous about this. Since it was the big shot's intention, I couldn't cause trouble. I'd have to treat ZZ even better in the future. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration crossed my mind. Since Fei Yu had feelings for Prince Xian before, why don't I take this chance to play matchmaker? I said, Your Highness, we haven't properly introduced your pill refining technique from last time. Why don't we have a meal together and have a good, in-depth discussion? However, plans can't keep up with changes. Normally, shouldn't a date between a man and woman be full of sweet talk and affection? How come you're so engrossed in talking about business? Oh my, I'm really upset. Others talk about love in workplace dramas, but you're discussing business in a romance drama. Fine, since the kids are focused on their careers. As a mother, I shouldn't interfere. Just then, the commotion upstairs caught my attention. The next moment, a foot suddenly broke through the floor. Following, it was the figure of a lowly. Don't be afraid. I'm here to help you. After a series of cool moves, I successfully grabbed the little girl's ankle and incidentally gave her little head a perfect kowtow. Ah, you can't blame me for growing too tall, right? Do you know how desperate this little lowly was? Not only was she forced to kowtow, but she also had to endure other strange looks. Is my existence hindering your romance? At this moment, the little lowly who had just received my help was gritting her teeth while expressing her gratitude. Thank you for your help. Please don't help next time. Suddenly, the commotion outside the door startled the lowly. She quickly darted behind me. The kids, hearing the noise, also came rushing over. However, the scene before them made Fei Yu's body tremble. They saw a perverted lowly with a nosebleed, freely pinching that circle that even she hadn't pinched before, little wooden horse. This child cannot be allowed to live. This little girl seems to be hurt. I have a pill here that can make you never feel pain again. Would you like to know more about it? Don't come any closer. Looking in the direction of the commotion, it turned out to be the envoy from the neighboring country, Adu, looking for his little daughter. Prince Xian also exchanged polite greetings with him. Then he looked at the little lowly caught by death beside him and said, The person you're looking for is here. After a series of scoldings, Adu also criticized his daughter's rude behavior. I told you not to wear such heavy makeup when going out. Look now, people who don't know might think you hit your face on the ground. I was a bit stunned by this. According to the plot, the little lowly should appear later. I remember after the Yan'an conference, it's the birthday of the Upper Red Emperor. So the vassal states came to offer birthday wishes, which caused some unpleasant sparks. As for the little lowly, she's a princess appointed by her grandfather, the prince. She has a free-spirited personality, but is also a bit willful and capricious. In the original plot, the lowly somehow fell in love with Prince Xian, causing many misunderstandings for the kids. But now it seems that Fei Yu and Prince Xian are developing a business relationship. If a third party comes in now, wouldn't it turn into a love triangle? Moreover, seeing how shy the little lowly is now, I'm afraid she's already secretly in love with Prince Xian. At this moment, the little lowly was feeling hopeless. It was bad enough to be seen in such an embarrassing state by a woman, but now a prince has appeared too. Why don't you just kill me and be done with it? So, the little lowly had the idea of staying away from Prince Xian. Watching the father-daughter moment before me, I felt a bit restless inside. They are a bit pitiful, aren't they? Meanwhile, a handsome man who didn't want to show his face was plotting some unknown actions for the fourth prince. Since this person wants to use his highness, he should be prepared to be used as well. This time, I guarantee with my life that there won't be any problems. Fei Yu had never felt so speechless in her life. It was a rare chance to get close to Ning Xian, but it was ruined by this little troublemaker. What's going on? Due to lack of pill refining experience, unable to go to the Wanqing realm, Fei Yu could only agree to Prince Xian's request to go to the Royal Jade Pill Hall for practice and help promote the new pill refining method. Although she wanted to keep Ming Xian's teachings to herself, the current situation made it impossible to hide. However, as soon as she reached the entrance, she heard people discussing Ming Xian's uselessness and Fei Yu's lowly background. What a bunch of fools who don't know what's good for them. But the show must go on. Fei Yu started exchanging pleasantries with the seniors. She also took the opportunity to introduce the new pill refining method to everyone. However, there are always some self-righteous troublemakers who want to cause problems. They started with sarcastic remarks, mocking Qi Ming Xian's incompetence during the competition. Seeing this, Fei Yu got into character in 1 second. Yes. I'm just a country bumpkin who doesn't know anything. I hope you knowledgeable seniors can guide me. These words made everyone's faces flush with pride. If it wasn't for convenience, I wouldn't bother dealing with you at all. In the afternoon, I came to visit Fei Yu as promised. Hearing the news, Fei Yu was overjoyed. Change your expression. Then she ran towards me with a pitiful look. Ming Xian, you're here. I've been so busy all day, I'm so tired. In contrast, I asked about her well-being with a look of disgust. Ming Xian, what's wrong with you? With Fei Yu's support, I collapsed shakily onto the chair. And all of this was because of that despicable fake smiler. Due to the shock I received in the morning, the image of a certain death god kept appearing inadvertently in my dreams. Don't be afraid, it's just a dream. You dare to come back? Mom, help me. And so, I ended up cultivating until early morning. But come to think of it, the boss told me to take care of Fei Yu. If the boss finds out that Fei Yu is being bullied at the Jade Pill Hall, wouldn't that anger be directed at me? Absolutely not. I must protect my little one. However, things didn't go as planned. After intense thinking, I fell into a deep sleep, randomly resting my head on Fei Yu's shoulder. Seeing this, Fei Yu's face turned red. Actually, this is quite nice. Just then, an explosion broke this wonderful moment. Which bastard is causing trouble? Running towards the direction of the explosion, we saw a pill room engulfed in flames. It's all your fault. If it wasn't for your stupid pill refining method, I wouldn't have had a furnace explosion. Those were pills meant for His Majesty. Can you take responsibility for this? Seeing this, some troublemakers started to stir things up. They were determined to make a big deal out of it. Oh, can the distillation method create a bomb now? Then how can you prove that this method is safe? However, someone was not pleased to hear this. Oh, well, how can you prove it wasn't your mistake? When faced with someone challenging you, of course you need your harem team to back you up. Seeing his little wife being bullied, the prince got angry. He furiously accused the troublemaker of misconduct. Your Highness, this humble one has never had a furnace explosion while refining pills. It must be a problem with this new refining method. As he spoke, he intentionally stirred up everyone's emotions. Seeing this, the prince's face turned extremely ugly. We've tested this new method hundreds of times. Don't we know whether it will explode or not? Surely, this person must be a spy planted by some old rival. Indeed, the reform is not yet successful. Comrades still need to work hard. But as the saying goes, if there's no problem, just lay low. Don't show your face. You see, now you're in trouble. The troublemaker suddenly turned the tables. I heard this method was invented by Miss Rome, and she even blew up her own room. I'm just concerned about my colleague's safety. How rude of you. You messed up, and you're blaming me? Oh ho, Are you saying you had nothing to do with your room exploding? This argument was immediately effective. Everyone started to question the feasibility of the new method. Seeing this, Feiyu couldn't stand it anymore. You want to play dirty? I can play dirtier. That's right. It's because of the furnace explosion that Ning Xian felt the old pill refining method was too dangerous. So he researched a safer pill refining method. He did this for everyone's sake, disregarding his own well-being. And it's also because of Ning Xian's help that I was able to grow in such a short time. Hearing this, everyone was moved to tears. The troublemaker on the side was left speechless, as expected of the female lead. Seeing this, the prince pressed his advantage. Those willing to try the new method can do so voluntarily. As for the pills destroyed by the troublemaker, Your Highness, it was my fault. I'll make up for it. Your intention to poison is obvious even to the not-so-bright Prince Xian. With a few words, he dismissed him. You should go back and recover. We'll get His Majesty's share from me and the Crown Prince. The rest can be handled by Feiyu. That's not appropriate. Oh, the prince has spoken. You dare to question? Besides, my Feiyu is the top scholar. Do you have that? Aren't you very capable? How many awards have you won? After the little one made some arrangements, Prince Xian took us away. Seeing this, the little punk was grinding his teeth in anger. In a specially prepared private room. Look at this scene. Isn't it perfect for matchmaking the kids? I said, Your Highness, you knew someone was giving them trouble, so you came specifically to support Feiyu, right? Well, that's not entirely untrue. Mainly, I came to discuss the spirit value matter with the Wuha Kingdom. Hearing this, Feiyu almost laughed out loud. Great, after Prince Xian leaves, I can be alone with Ning Xian. But in my view, does this guy know how to talk? Can't he sweet-talk a girl a bit? Look how upset my Feiyu is. She's about to cry. If that little lowly was still clinging to Prince Xian at this time, Feiyu would probably burst into tears. Then we followed the prince's steps and went along. Seeing this, Feiyu was completely stunned. Don't worry, baby. Mom will definitely protect you well. Darling Xian, what will I do when you're gone? On the way, I tentatively inquired about Prince Xian's love history. Just then, a commotion caught our attention. Sure enough, one day, without mischief, and they're tearing the roof off. I said I just wanted to look around by myself. Don't follow me. That up there doesn't look very secure. Do you want me to give you a hand? Seeing this, the lowly sneered. I've been all kinds of high places. How could I possibly fall? However, the next moment, the obliging tile slid accordingly, directly slamming the little lowly onto the ground. This can't be blamed on me, right? Two women coveting each other. What kind of sparks would they create? Just now, the little lowly fell from a high place once again. She didn't understand why nothing good ever happens when she meets these two. The lowly's father also arrived late. I told you not to put on makeup. Otherwise, people might think you fell from the roof. Seeing this, Prince Xian didn't mind. He even started making plans for the little lowly. Since you're interested in this place, why don't you come along and take a look? Seeing no way to refuse, the little lowly could only lower her head in embarrassment. However, in my view, this is obviously the legendary love at first sight, right? If I don't handle this, she might end up in Prince Xian's bed. Seeing my appraising gaze, the little lowly also felt a pang of unease. She quietly inquired about my information from the servants. You don't know until you ask. This woman, for Prince Xian's sake, directly beat up all the major ladies in the capital. She didn't even spare the family's female dog. Big sister isn't going to hit me, is she? If she misunderstands that I have some relationship with Prince Xian, won't even my ashes be scattered? Absolutely not. I need to find a way to resolve this. Big sister, what a coincidence. We've met twice since arriving at this place. Yes. The princess is extremely adorable. Quite memorable indeed. Looking at the scene of instant friendship before me, the lowly's father burst into tears. Oh, my daughter has finally made a friend. And our Prince Xian also had a satisfied look. Since you're getting along so well, why don't you go sightseeing together? After saying this, he didn't forget to give me a knowing look. But I don't understand. But this is not bad either. At least it's away from Prince Xian. A moment later, we were strolling on the street. In such an awkward situation, naturally, it was up to me, the conversation genius, to take charge. I said, Princess, have you eaten? Yes, I have. What a coincidence, I've eaten too. After a moment of awkwardness, we were both ready to die on the spot. Isn't this just two socially anxious people trying to communicate? This can't go on. It's getting so awkward we could carve out a 3-bedroom apartment. I said, Princess, what kind of man do you like? Here we go. It's clearly a loaded question. As long as I make up someone unrelated to Prince Xian, it should be fine. Of course, I like the type with tan skin, short hair, and well-developed muscles, she said with a whimper. Wait, that's not right. You're describing that guy from the story, but you don't actually like him at all. What about you, big sister? I think Ajay should be the handsome, mature type, seemingly cold, but actually very gentle. Hearing this, the lowly was stunned. Are you sure that's Prince Xian? Isn't that just your imagination? Just then, Feiyu, who was passing by, came over to greet me. Seeing this, the servant hurriedly came forward to explain. Apparently, the furnace just exploded and ruined the pills, so Miss Rong needs to replenish them for Prince Xian. This is too much. To please Prince Xian, they're forcing their own sister to make pills. Look how angry Sister Feiyu is. Haha, Mingxian isn't with me. He's actually out shopping with her. This can't be allowed. On the other side, hearing the servant's report, the handsome guy was surprised. Prince Xian actually let Feiyu handle their pills? Could it be that we also have a spy on our side? But since Prince Xian and Adu have made contact, it means that guy is about to make his move too. Go tell them we'll arrange for the officials to be late. As for whether it succeeds or not, it depends on his own abilities. One is the future princess consort. The other is a princess from a neighboring country. Which one will the enemy's assassination target? Due to Prince Xian's arrangement, the little lowly and I were aimlessly wandering the streets. Some dark forces were quietly stirring in certain places. However, I knew all of this. It's just that the plot development is a bit different from what I watched before. In a moment of distraction, I was suddenly transported to another scene. Is this the legendary quick scene transition? Wait, princess, how do we end up here? Didn't you lead the way? Looking at the familiar layout of the store, I knew the crisis was about to come. Just as I was about to run away, a sudden feeling of guilt surged in my heart. After all, I was the one who brought her here. Although I can't disrupt the plot, abandoning her like this would weigh on my conscience. I said, Princess, it's not safe outside. We should head back early. Hearing this, the princess was a bit surprised. My escorts are the best warriors in the village. How could they possibly be taken down by a few villains dropping from the sky? However, reality proved that paper tigers are unreliable. Before the little lowly could react, the men in black swung their knives at her. I quickly dodged, grabbed the lowly, and started running. Damn it, the door is blocked. I said, Sister, where did you find these enemies? Is it too late to apologize now? Huh. Seeing this, I was at a loss. They're clearly here for you. Impossible, absolutely impossible. I haven't offended anyone, but you beat up all the young ladies in the capital. To this, I was speechless. You decide whether you want him or me. Big sister, at least show some respect for us robbers. We're here for the princess. Hearing this, the princess was displeased. She pulled out her lightning 5-chain whip and swung it at the enemy. Those who know, this thing is usually useless. My limited edition 5-chain whip. That was personally used by Master Ma. Boss, what about the other woman? The higher-ups said not to mess with the main target. Just silence her directly. After a round of international friendly greetings, I grabbed the little lowly and ran towards the window, facing the pursuing axe. I jumped directly onto a cart, accompanied by the axe's graceful fall with 3.5 rotations in the air. I successfully used a fulcrum to launch the 200-pound girl into the air. She then crashed straight into the eaves. However, an unbelievable scene unfolded before me. Beautiful lady, would you be my wife? Do you know how great Ming Xuan's charm is? Anyone can make the prince a cuckold. Just now, the assassin chasing his pride into the house with an axe. However, an unbelievable scene unfolded before me. Beautiful lady, would you be my wife? His name is Taran, the 6th prince of the Indite country. His country borders the Little Lowlies, so there's constant conflict between them. However, in the story, Taran still falls in love with the little lowly at first sight. But because the lowly's heart belongs to Prince Xian, Taran can only painfully give up and turn to deal with more serious matters. So, handsome boy, it's impossible between you two. The lowly trembled and said, No, if you don't mind, I want 4 children. What kind of outrageous talk is this? In a second, they were already lovey-dovey, even discussing their children's names. The girl will definitely be as lively and beautiful as you. The boy should be as strong as you. Looking at the scene before me, I felt 1,000 alpacas galloping through my heart. It's really like Li Pu's mother opening the door for Li Pu. Li Pu has come home. This isn't how the script goes. Stop improvising. Ming Xian, you don't understand. This is called love. Saying this, they started being lovey-dovey again. Wake up. We're being chased right now. As soon as I finished speaking, the men in black descended from the roof in unison, determined to tear the lowly to pieces. Don't worry, dear. Leave everything to me. This scene. Even dogs would shake their heads. With Terran's command, 5 burly men surrounded the assassins. Then came a beating on top of a beating. That's for breaking my lightning 5-chain whip. How dare you bully my wife? Kill them all. Fine. Do whatever you want. It's none of my business. A moment later, the little lowly introduced my identity to Terran. This is Ning Xuan. Thanks to him, I escaped the assassination and flew into the house to meet you. Then, holding my hand sincerely, she said, "From now on, you're my best friend." Looking at the tightly held little hand, a warmth rose in my heart. Seeing this, Terran inquired about the origin of the assassins. The lowly, however, knew nothing. Although I knew the mastermind, it was difficult to speak up, because this person was the little lowly's own uncle, aiming for the title of prince. On the other side, hearing that the assassination failed, the handsome guy was shocked. How was it Rong Mingxian again? What other news is there? Our people vaguely heard Rong Mingxian say something about Terran falling in love at first sight. And Terran said something like, "Lucky to meet you." Then, Terran's subordinates became very respectful towards Rong Mingxian. Hearing this, the handsome guy understood. I get it. It must be that the Prince of Indite fell in love with Rong Mingxuan at first sight. Saying this, he ordered people to spread the news. I want to see how Prince Xian will react. In Prince Xian's mansion, "My lord, they're saying outside that Miss Rong has cuckolded you." So-called rumors stop with the wise, but spread among fools. We, being chased by assassins, accidentally flew into the residence of the neighboring country's prince and escaped danger. The princess even fell in love with Terran at first sight. However, the speaker is careless, but the listener is attentive. This was greatly exaggerated by the clever handsome guy. At this moment, Prince Xian was discussing international trade matters with Adu. Suddenly, a subordinate from the Wuha country burst through the door. "My lord, it's terrible. I don't know when I was knocked unconscious by villains. When I woke up, I vaguely discovered that the princess was taken away by that Rong woman." Hearing this, the princess's father turned pale. "Daughter, although your father hopes you make some friends, but definitely not that kind of colorful relationship. If this is true, I'll eat a tyrant while standing on my head. They're saying outside that Miss Rong has cuckolded you. Impossible, absolutely impossible. It's as likely as the national football team winning the World Cup. What about my wife? It said that Miss Rong took the princess and broke into the post station. They met the envoy from Indite country, and then they said you were cuckolded." Hearing this, the prince became furious. He took his people to catch the adulterers. On the other side, I was happily eating the sweet dog food of the newly minted couple. Just then, a guard came running to report urgently to Terran. Seeing this, Terran also understood. Before leaving, he didn't forget to spread more dog food. I said, "Brother, how did you fall in love at first sight? I don't understand." "Sister Mingxian, don't you think a princess falling from the sky is just like fate's arrangement? Just like my sister and brother-in-law's love. It must be a gift from fate." At this, I couldn't help but fall into deep thought. According to the script, the little lowly should like Prince Xian. And the only intersection between Prince Xian and the little lowly was that time at the restaurant. And the little lowly loves climbing walls. Could it be that on that day, she was supposed to fall and be caught in a princess carried by Prince Xian, leading to love at first sight? So that day, did I steal Prince Xian's scene? What the hell? This isn't my fault, right? Was it because I was there at that time? Princess, listen to me calmly. That time at the restaurant, I really didn't mean to. Prince Xian and Fei Yu were already, you know. Anyway, I didn't intentionally make you not fall for Prince Xian. Do you understand? Just then, the father-in-law suddenly pushed open the door. However, what met his eyes was the blooming lilies of his homeland. It can't be. You two will never work out. But one wave had barely settled when another rose. Seeing his little wife pinned down by a strange old man, Terran was devastated. "Bastard, let her go." The surging spiritual power in his hand shot straight towards the old man. But the next moment, it was firmly blocked by Prince Xian. In such a hurry to silence them? You're really not taking this prince seriously. Your country boasts of justice. yet turns a blind eye to such things. Then I'll take matters into my own hands. On the other side, hearing that Prince Xian and Terran were fighting, the handsome guy was overjoyed. Tell me, which man can remain calm when he's been cuckolded? Quickly go and make a big fuss about this. It's best to drag the crown prince into it too, to charge him with dereliction of duty. At this moment in the crown prince's hall, Your Highness, they're saying outside that Prince Xian and Terran are fighting over a dew. What made the girl let out such a heart-wrenching wail? And what made two strangers come to blows? For some unknown reason, Prince Xian and Terran inexplicably started fighting. Even Prince Xian's personal guard suffered a cruel fate. I said, Bing Bing, how did those two end up fighting? Hearing this, Bing Bing was full of melancholy. Isn't it because they're saying outside that you eloped with the princess? At this, I was at my wit's end. It's all a misunderstanding. Quick, go stop them. Oh my, the prince can take on Tenemy with one hand. This despicable, vile sexy. I'd better go myself. Then, taking a deep breath, I let out a long shout. Stop fighting, both of you. However, this had no effect whatsoever. Seeing this, Bing Bing pulled out his long-treasured amplifier. You had this thing and didn't use it yourself? Although I wasn't sure if they'd listen, Terran should at least listen to the little lowly. So I quickly grabbed the little lowly. All of you stop fighting. If you don't stop, we'll elope. You can't. What are you doing? No, listen to me. After an explanation, the two men understood the situation. One thought his fiancée had been stolen. The other almost beat up his father-in-law. Such heroic men naturally admired each other. Two great heroes. They even shamelessly engaged in mutual flattery. How did those two end up getting along? I don't understand and don't want to. Hearing about the lowly being stabbed, Adu hurried forward to show concern, determined to make the assassins pay. Although I didn't want to affect the plot, but those damn guys actually wanted to kill me to silence me. How can I tolerate that? I finally wanted to take it easy for once, but you made me lose so thoroughly. If you're not kind, don't blame me for being unjust. Knowing the plot well, I just need to guide them a little from behind. I'll definitely help them find a villain. Watch how I show off my skills. Randomly pointing at the assassin's weapon, I said sternly, "This weapon is rare in all countries. It seems that it's a weapon commonly found only in your Hawu country. In other words, those assassins are from our Hawu country. At this point, I can't hide it from you anymore. Actually, your uncle has long wanted to usurp your grandfather's princely title. I didn't expect him to be so vicious." Seeing this, Prince Xian also expressed his agreement. "If that's the case, I'll send someone to secretly investigate the embassy to see if there are any clues." Looking at such a capable protagonist team, I was momentarily speechless. Indeed, for things concerning the protagonists, you can do whatever you want. It has nothing to do with me, the vicious female supporting character. What kind of little flower could cause various forces to scramble for it? After careful reasoning by the protagonist team, the case-solving group successfully identified the criminal suspects. Obviously, these things have nothing to do with me, the vicious female supporting character. I'm puzzled about this. You're all so intense now. Why were you all messed up so badly in the story? But joking aside, there's one thing I need to confirm. Then, I casually inquired about the tribute from the enemy country. That's right, our tribute is that rare Lingji that only blooms once every 10 years. Hearing this, Jean Wanrue, the lowly, became interested. With teary eyes, she wanted to take a look. This lowly wasn't raised for nothing. With Terran's command, a golden and gorgeous flower was fully displayed before everyone's eyes. Such a beautiful flower. Which young girl wouldn't want to touch it? However, this action was stopped by Terran. Although the flower can promote cultivation for cultivators, its stem contains a deadly poison. It will cause those who touch it to die in agony. That being said, to do that kind of thing, you need to take some safety measures. After saying this, he easily put gloves on the little lowly. The golden little flower seemed so fragile in the girl's hands. Accompanied by a cracking sound, the flower fell to the ground. No, I didn't mean to do that. At this, Terran was in a panic. It's okay. If I send someone back to the country now, we should still make it in time. Just then, the abnormality of the flower caught Terran's attention. This flower is not our tribute. I wasn't surprised by this. After all, it had already been switched. On the other side, the handsome guy was examining the flower that his people had stolen. as expected of the fourth prince's subordinates, acting so swiftly. Of course, but won't your fake be discovered? The lowly confidently guaranteed this. That fake is more real than the real thing. Moreover, the flower is extremely delicate tonight. Even if they check, they'll at most open the box to look. There's absolutely no stupid little darling who would directly touch it. Hearing this, the handsome guy believed it completely. Then he inquired about those subordinates who failed in the assassination. Don't worry, young master. Their families are all in my hands. After briefly discussing the matters, the lowly's uncle also took his leave. Seeing this, the handsome guy looked at the little rascal beside him and said, "Now that we have the flower, I'll leave the rest to you. Be careful when extracting the poison." Hearing this, the little rascal bowed and thanked him. "Prince Xianhe, just you wait." On the other side, the scout who had finished gathering intelligence hurriedly ran to report urgently to Fei Yu. "I heard that an envoy from a neighboring country has brought something rare and valuable.